Show 17J, TGO
Oh,
show.
that's why you were singing that. Okay, that makes
Exactly.
sense. I don't even know what song that is, by the way.
Oh, it's the
I prob-
Beatles.
Oh, it's the
First Beatles
Beatles,
track
okay.
of the first album.
See, I've never like properly got into the Beatles. I appreciate their stuff. I've listened to a lot of their stuff. A lot of my
I'll
fan
give
members
you-
that love the Beatles, but I've never like listened to an album start to finish.
I'll give you a couple of albums to listen to start to finish, and I'll give you 20 songs
Tell
which
you
you
what, I
gotta
actually
finish.
like their old stuff a lot. Like their like classic kind of like side to side bloody head stuff. Like Twist and Shout is just immaculate.
First album.
Yeah, exactly. I like their first album and I like their later stuff. I'm not like too crazy about the middle stuff.
Oh, I'm the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there we go.
That song's called I Saw Her Standing There. This is the TGO show every Saturday morning, apart from the last few weeks, because it's been a very busy time, and unfortunately,
I mean, you can't blame. I mean, we can blame you for it, but we shouldn't do because it's been a crazy time. So
it has been fairly
there's
crazy.
There's a lot going on in whether it be personal or not. So
there is. That's the Goldilocks gamer Jay.
Deuces.
I'm the friendly neighbourhood Nick. Hashtag. We've got a lot to talk about. Boom, 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 boom. You know that sound, Jay? The fucking.
Yeah.
Do you know Beyonce put down one of her songs?
Oh god, I'm sure loads of people have.
It kind of works actually. Jay, what you been playing?
Honestly, not a lot. Like I farmed a hell of a lot on Borderlands still.
Give me some timelines here, man. What's going on? So you're still doing it since last week?
I haven't in the last 2 days, but maybe like every day before that.
Yeah.
Just farming for stuff. I actually wanted to go back and see if I could max level another character, which I did. So I did that just for fun, just to see if I could get them to like a high level build, like I did with my Moze. And I kind of did. It got like part of the way there. I'd say Moze is probably the easiest person to actually like do damage with. Every other character is pretty difficult. You got to build in an even more specific way, and it's very annoying. So yeah, still, I mean, I'm happy with it, but I'm not bored, but I'm not bored.
I understand.
That makes sense. Like I'm ready to play something else. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sort of just playing it because it's nice to like farm for stuff, nice to grind for things, even though it's pretty redundant at this point.
Yeah, and you put some other pretty.
Yeah, I kind of want to just talk a little bit about Marvel Avengers really quick.
Yeah.
I just want to. I saw a video of the loot system in the game, and that sort of made me not necessarily change my mind about the game, but made me want to look at it a bit more deeply than I did before.
Because I'm
a sucker. I'm a sucker. No, it isn't. No, it's just like a little caveat side thing. I just wanted to like I'm a sucker for loot games, space games, obviously Borderlands. So I saw that and went, oh, this interests me. This might be something I might have to look at and potentially. I don't know. It's not making me want to buy the game, but it's made me want to buy the game like 5 to 10% more than I would have wanted to or not wanted to before. So I just thought I'd bring that up, just maybe even get your opinion on how you think about loot in Marvel, if that's like a thing that you'd be interested in today.
So what's the system that they've showed, Jay?
So it's just like this war table thing, right? We spoke about it maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
So it's the same one, or is it a new one?
Yeah, same one, but I didn't realise that there was loot. I didn't think that was a thing. All I thought was that it was a linear game. But this is like a different mode where you can like do I think it's almost like it's like a co-op.
Horde mode in it.
Yeah, kind of like more like a dungeony type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, get loot from it, and that looked quite interesting to me. Thing is, it didn't look like it looked. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be like a matchmaking type thing, like a raid type situation or something. I'm not sure, but if I get more information, I'll have to, look at it a bit more and contemplate. I still don't warrant buying it though. Yeah, I have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, that was just my little 2 cents there. My other thing I had was Cyberpunk. I'm very happy. I don't know if you ever get this with certain games. Like, this happened to me with Dark Souls. This is like part of the reason why I love Dark Souls so much. Is the lore behind it, LORE lore. You know what I mean? Like the history, the background. Okay.
I thought you were like, oh no, the lore's called lore, and I'm like, what? No, yeah,
Well, no, just because some people don't really know. It's weird. Like, I've asked a lot of people what lore is, and they're like, lore as in like the law, and I'm like, no, as in like LORE. So I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
But Cyberpunk, I mean, the original board game is known for having quite a lot of backstory. That's like part of the reason why it's like a Dungeons and Dragons type situation, right? It's like a role playing thing. But the Cyberpunk Twitter are starting to do that. They're starting to sort of roll out information about characters in the game, and I really appreciate when a game goes that in depth with the game, especially with a game that I know I'm going to enjoy this much. So I'm just happy about it. I want to see if you had any interest in that, whether you would actually look at it or just maybe like save yourself from spoilers or what.
Yeah, appreciate the question. I'm gonna be pathetic. The thought process for me, Jay, is I've stayed clear now. Why break it, kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't think it will spoil anything. In fact, it could help with the overwhelming amount of information I'm going to have to take in the first few hours of the game.
Kind of where I want to go with it. I might have. I'm pretty sure I spoke about it before. But when it comes to a new game that I know I may or may not know I'm going to enjoy, I have to sort of assess the game. Maybe not even like subliminally, almost like my brain has to sort of decide for me whether or not it's the kind of game where I have to know more about it before I play it, or know absolutely nothing. And I feel like that can sometimes make or break a game, even if I know I'm going to enjoy it or not enjoy it as much. Like there's probably some games out there that I hate, but if I had looked more into it before it came out, I might have absolutely loved it, and vice versa. Right? There's the 4 different ways that could have gone. But with Cyberpunk, I have a feeling that I'm going to need to know a lot before I go in, and I've definitely proven that to myself, 100%. Like from what I've seen, I'm like, right, if I didn't know this, I probably would have struggled a little bit before going in, and I'd rather be a bit more prepared when it comes to this game. I feel like there definitely is a sense of adventure when it comes to not knowing about this game. So I feel like your version, like of how you're going to feel about the game, might be slightly different to how my version is. Whereas, like I'm probably coming from the place of knowing enough to be prepared so things might go a bit smoother and a bit more calculated, whereas yours will probably be a bit more erratic, which might make it for more of an action-packed story and a bit more of an adventurous journey versus my, prepared heist, as it were, So I think that's just like a good comparison.
Yeah, it's a great point, mate. Great point. It'll definitely change because of what you've seen before and what I haven't seen before we start the game.
Yeah.
And it's also a really interesting point you bring up about how actually checking out some stuff about the game can actually benefit you. Not only is it not a drawback, but it can benefit you from jumping into a 200-hour game, which is going to absolutely overwhelm. Like, we might have to talk about this at a later date, Jay, but there's definitely a thing for me where there's so many menus and so much on-screen information that I actually struggle to play the game. I don't know whether this is an OCD thing or an autistic thing.
For Cyberpunk. There's a lot of menus where I'm like, wow, there's a lot going on right now. Give me it's honestly taken me about a week to process all. So I guess now there's like maybe a little less processing that's going to be needed once I start playing it. I think that's the idea. Yeah. I think it's basically like preloading almost. It's like preloading the game before I preload the game to play it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like I want some screenshots just to download the information of, oh, okay, so that's what that means on the UI and that's what that means on the display. Because I play so many games and I'm like, there is literally 15 things on the screen and I don't know where to look right now. What does that do? What does that do? Like the new Call of Duties I play, I'm like, I don't know what any of this does.
I feel like you can get the same on the other end with like if there's almost where there's like no HUD, it can be just as jarring. Like I guess Dead Space is a similar type of thing where there's like no real HUD. So that's the reason why the game's so good, because it's so jarring. It makes it more horrific, more tense, more.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love this. I love just how that works. Like how that can either it can completely change the way you feel about a game or how a game is perceived by so many other people. It's just very very ingenious.
Yeah,
Loving it.
especially because you wouldn't think it's that big of a deal
No, but it
going
really
from a
is. Small stuff can definitely, small details can make quite a large impact. So
definitely
I guess yeah. So the last thing is Ghost of Tsushima. I have
coming
pre-ordered
out
it.
soon, right? You
Yeah,
okay?
it's coming out a week tomorrow, 17th.
Wow, that's coming around. Whoa.
So I'll be playing that a week tomorrow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
Preloaded,
that.
downloaded to the
Yeah,
old.
I've pre-ordered it. I got the special edition, so I got a few extra in-game stuff.
How
I
much?
almost, I don't actually know. I think it was like 60 something. I
Okay.
almost got the physical edition. I was this close. Just because how nice the like steelbook thing looked, I was like, oh, that looks good. But I did realize that if you got the digital version, you got a dynamic theme, and I was like, yep, I'd rather have a dynamic theme.
Really?
Yeah, dynamic theme was the twist for me. It was like, right, I either get physical and I get no dynamic theme and this cool looking box, or I get a dynamic theme and no box. So I was like, yep, I'll go with the dynamic theme.
I'm still pretty fresh to PS4J, but the dynamic themes, are they a big selling point for you if they're good?
Honestly, yeah, I'm kind of disappointed. There was a dynamic theme, a Tifa dynamic theme for Final Fantasy VII,
I
and
saw that on the
the
store.
only way you could get it was if you bought, I think, the really expensive edition. And obviously, not many people would have bought that because it costs so much money. So you
Mm.
can't get it unless you bought it. So I'm like, well, would have liked that.
Why not just offer it separately? Yeah.
Exactly, and the reason why they didn't offer it separately is because they wanted more people to buy the
But
larger
yeah,
edition. So
it's annoying. Consumer choice all the way. So you just wanted to say that what's your excitement level, Jay? Two questions.
yeah,
What's
there's
your
been a
excitement level? And do you think enough time's passed from The Last of Us Part 2 for the general PS4 audience?
oh definitely yeah. I feel like Last of Us 2 probably lasted like a good 2 or 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
as like a
Mm-hmm.
good talking point in terms of, I mean, people are still talking about it depending on where you look. Because actually, I think like all the more casual gamers only recently completed the game, like within the last week or so, because they've obviously probably got a job and they play it an hour a night or whatever. So
Got babies.
it probably took them like 2 or 3 weeks, right, or whatever. But yeah, no, I think enough time's passed, and Ghost of Tsushima is looking good.
Mm-hmm.
I sort of have, I guess, taken a bit of a leap in terms of this game could be bad. There's still time for it to not be good. But you know, I've put my trust in it, and I'm hoping for the best. I think hype level is definitely up there. I'm not thinking about it too much because I want to be more hyped on the day. Which I like. Ghost sort of seems like one of those games where I don't need to know as much. I don't need to know a little bit, definitely. Like there's parts of the combat maybe that I need to know about, which is what I've been looking at. There's been a lot more. Usually on the lead up or the week before a game comes out, there's a lot more videos that tell you all the details about stuff. So I'll be keeping an eye out for that and then learning a bit more, hopefully. Yeah, no, I'm excited about it, definitely.
Yeah, I was going to say, Jay, that it's been quite a short period of time since we've really seen the proper gameplay reveal of the game to launch, which has been different, I think, for PlayStation for the most part. Not necessarily bad different.
No, I
We
mean,
saw,
there's been a few things that have come out since then, but nothing that maybe would have been marketed as widely. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking of that state of play where they really showed us what the game was, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
yeah, but yes, that's what I was going to say, Jay, as well. I'd love, if it's okay with you, to do a TGO special on it, and we can cover your thoughts. You can tell me some of the mechanics. Probably, depending on what you think of the game, depends on whether I'll play it.
Oh, okay.
So we probably won't do spoilers, but I'm more than happy to go into a lot of the game
Yeah.
in terms of
Okay.
like
So you're
things you
actually
can
like
do.
you're sort of seeing what my opinion is of it to be able to determine whether you're going to buy it, because obviously it will still cost quite a bit, obviously.
Yeah, or of whether I buy it when it's cheaper
Yeah, when it's
or on
cheaper or
offer.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not going to be upset if I hear about, oh, you can do this in the game or you can find this collectible. Like, it's not going to be
Can I
that
do
sensitive for me.
a pre prediction on what it's going to get out of 10?
You can?
I'm going to say it's
For generally,
a
like,
solid 8. I think anything less than that is probably going to be reasons that we don't know about. Anything higher than that is probably looking less likely. I'm hoping it'll be around an 8, somewhere between like 7 and 9. But I don't think it'll get to 9, but I hope it does. There's parts of
yeah,
the game where I've looked at it and think, oh, I'm not sure if that, but that could have been, because it's not out yet. It's not like polished or whatever. I'm hoping. I mean, they're gonna be polishing like mad right now. So
100%.
get
I think
polishing.
you're probably right, mate, from what I've seen of the game and what we know of gaming journalists. I think the worry, Jay, for me is it'll either be a strong 8 or almost a weak 7. Does that make sense?
That was what I was trying
Yeah,
to get to, but couldn't quite find the words. Yeah, and I 100% agree. It looks
yeah,
like it's going to be either a strong 8 or a weak 8 stroke weak 7. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
I think there's definitely going to be a few things that you could nitpick at. Definitely, it won't be. I mean, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope it's going to like blow the lid off some stuff. Yeah, I really do. What about you? What you been doing this week?
Well, Jay, I got all
Yes,
the achievements for
enlighten me.
Bounty of Blood. Which
Awesome.
is
How
cool.
difficult was that?
Pretty
Or
easy.
how easy was it?
I've done
Either or.
quite a lot on the way through. You look at areas on the map that are blank or whatever. Oh, that's probably got a monster in there. Did a lot of it on the way through. There's some groovy side stories to check out. Someone trying to make a film. There was another one that I've forgotten. Oh yeah, there was one about a guy who was researching the Devil Riders,
Okay.
who won't spoil it, but yeah, that was cool. And I've also been playing Odyssey. We will keep that going, and I'm getting through it still, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Still playing it. Haven't finished it. I told Jay I don't want to tell you guys where I'm at because I don't want you to get any expectations of when the special will come.
Oh,
But
okay.
I told Jay,
We had a chat
earlier this week that for me, the game's going to have to start being pretty. The game's going to have to start making me feel quite a lot for me to not start getting bored. I think is the way to put it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to like blame your speed of which you play on that necessarily, but it definitely could be a variable. This is part of the reason why I play the games at the speed I do, because I know if I take it too slow, it tends to like become more like a job. Yeah, like a chore. Exactly, that's the word I was looking for. Chore. Yeah, there's a very fine line between chore and like wanting to play a game, which I know sounds weird, but there is a very fine line, and it's sometimes easier to find than others. Yeah, it can get a bit tedious, but yes, I know. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And there's a whole other discussion too. Is it good that a game can feel like a chore, etc.? But I think you're right, Jay, because at the end of the day, I'm getting to the point now where I've played almost as much as you, and I haven't even done.
You've actually surpassed me in time played.
Right.
By 2 hours.
But
you haven't done nearly as much as I have.
Correct.
So exactly.
So this may make me reevaluate, but at the end of the day, Jay, it's an OCD thing.
I totally get it. That's exactly how I
see it on the map. I need to do it.
Yeah, I've definitely come away from that a lot more over the last maybe 2 or 3 years. I think that it held me back too much. It sort of made me want to hate games at one point. I was like, oh, I can't really stand the way my brain wants to get all these things done. It kind of annoyed me, which makes me wonder what else that's similar to that I might do that I'll probably get annoyed at some point. There is you were talking about Borderlands in the map. I'm like that with like having to fill out a map. I can't if there's a grey bit on a map, I have to go and fill it out. It has to become blue. You know what I mean? Like that's probably my one annoying thing. But other than that, yeah, I can't do what you do anymore. Just can't do it.
I might be in your position in a few months' time. How did you overcome that, Jay? Did you just
it's weird.
And move on?
Honestly, I think it's almost like once you've been rejected enough times, you start to just feel so like not trying anymore, right? So I think I'd gotten to the point where I'd tried to do it so many times and failed where I was like, well, I might not even bother doing it anymore, and then I didn't do it anymore, and it didn't affect me anymore. So I guess it's almost like an addiction, right? Where you stop smoking, you're not going to want to do it after a certain amount of time. So I don't think it like is that
Right.
bad, but it definitely like OCD kind of feels like that sometimes. It feels almost like an addiction. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
could wean yourself off it, or maybe
yeah,
lessen it slightly.
yeah. So just do the main quest and see how it goes, kind of thing.
Yeah, there is that urge sometimes there where you're like on a main quest and like, oh, I just let me do that thing. It's right there, and I'm not gonna bother coming back to it. Because it's gonna be too far away. But then you realise that things aren't actually that far away, and because I get at the end of the day, I think it's more of a time management thing for me at
Mm-hmm.
least. Like I feel like if I go past this thing now, I'm gonna have to travel all the way back, and that's gonna take twice as long,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's like I guess that's probably the mentality of where we're coming from.
100%.
But
And
yeah, I
also the
had to let go of it.
mentality,
It's weird.
of actually, if I just go do this now, it'll save me time in the future. And it has done that for a couple of quests, to be fair.
Mm.
Not as many as it should, but it has helped.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
And
I think I
Tom,
do it. I haven't completely cut it out. I've just done it a lot less. Like I've probably halved it, if not thirded it. I do it
hmm
about a
hmm
third of the time versus all the time,
yeah,
which saves me a lot of time. So
100%.
I don't know.
Could save you hundreds of hours, really.
Yeah.
And I'm halfway through my part 2 platinum.
Yes.
So that's
See,
still
I don't. It's weird. I don't. It's difficult for me to play more than one game at one time. I know I have kind of been doing that with like Pokemon and other things, but I feel like main game. Like, I couldn't play Odyssey and Last of Us at the same time. Odyssey is too big for me to need to do anything else. Like it takes up
well.
this, like a good like the 100% of my time.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
Well, in the defense of the solo game Pursuit, Jay,
Yeah.
when I first played through part 2, that was it.
Yeah.
And I've done a fair amount of Odyssey now where when I start feeling bored, I will then switch, kind of
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I guess
Borderlands
that's
3's out
good
of the
to get the
question now.
variety. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as soon as I start getting kind of not bored, well, bored might be the answer. When I start not feeling the game I'm playing, I'll just kind of switch. And Borderlands 3 is out, like that's uninstalled until DLC 4 now.
Oh
So
wow,
that's
really? I've tell you
oh
what, I've
yeah,
never uninstalled that game.
I can understand why.
I have to keep it on because it's one of those games where I'm like, if I'm in the mood, I need to play it right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
There's no
yeah.
DV. I can't wait 3 hours for it to download again. I have to play it. Like,
And
yeah,
it's so
it's
good
almost
when
like
you
a
get
backup.
it's so good as well when you start playing a game that you really crave, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But I understand what you mean about Odyssey. You're into it so much now that you kind of don't need to even think about too much else. So
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah,
Pretty
I know how that
much.
feels.
So
Cool.
yeah. All right, Jay. Great Scott! I haven't even checked out the news accent for this week's show.
Okay.
I've just seen it, and now I'm terrified.
See, I
Okay, all right.
recommend just really quickly, like bringing up one of
A
Mark
video.
Hamill doing an impression of him, and then try that because
Okay,
it's
I remember him doing an impression, so I'll try it. I'll try it. I'll try it. Okay, all right.
it's
You
easy but difficult at the
gotta
same
just,
time.
this is kind of weird, kid. Just
That's actually pretty good.
you want me to sign the stormtrooper? And then you could do like an actual character, which would be I mean, I'm just doing Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford, right? Like
Just
talks like
basically,
this,
yeah,
Mr.
just sort of like
Rumble.
raspy down here.
Yeah. I guess. Well, I've put a complete halt to the show.
No, that's fine.
Let's just move on. What was that? Was that really bad, Jay? Was that
No,
okay?
that was good. I think what you first did was great.
Cool. Great. All right. Jay, please lead the way for this week's news. Last week was a big news week. I think we're going to have big news weeks until the end of the year at this point, perhaps. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's weird. We've had barely any breaks when it comes to gaming news this year, which might be the first year in like a good 5 years where I've actually felt that. Like the last couple of years, I felt like, well, like the entirety of the middle of the year is like almost no gaming news apart from E3. It was E3 and then Game Show, or like the Game Show Awards, and then that was it. It was like nothing else until November, and then before that it was maybe something in February, but anything in between was like nothing. But we've had nothing but game news, and I'm very happy about that.
Well, I think we had a bit of a slowdown during March and that, but
I feel like the year before a new console comes out always feels so much slower because everyone's developing for the next thing, so there's nothing really going on. So
I feel that. Yeah. So Jay, we've got a lot of hashtag. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Hashtag.
So yeah, this might be a bit of an issue. Maybe not. We'll have to see.
Okay. Well, hold on. Let me tell the people that this is from Joe Screbbles at IGN. Sorry, Jay.
Yes. So July 23rd.
July 23rd
is when the Xbox first party game show is happening.
Is that Thursday?
Xbox Game Showcase. It's Thursday at 5 p.m.
Fuck yeah, Xbox! Read between the lines.
Love it. I imagine it's going to be an hour, so we could possibly watch it before we do this.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do an immediate reaction.
Yeah. So it's not next week, but it's the week after. So 2 weeks today is when we'll be watching that. We'll be doing a reaction, and we probably won't talk about the games until the week after, specifically, I imagine.
No, I think we should do a full breakdown. But what we'll do is we'll include it in the show, and it'll be the main topic of the show. And we'll go through it. We'll go like the PlayStation 5 reveal. We'll go through it. So we'll record live reactions just for practice. So you don't need to, pretend or anything like that. And then after we'll record the show if you're up for it.
Yeah, I just want to read one line of this article.
Yeah.
Recent rumors have also centered around the possibility of reveals for Fable 4, potentially from Playground Games, and a new Perfect Dark, with speculation pointing to mysterious new, I don't know how you want to say this, quadruple A, so not triple A, but quadruple A, Microsoft Studio, The Initiative.
Yeah, I told you about that before.
Mysterious.
You loved it. Yeah.
Yes, very interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll see the Initiatives game, but Jay, do you want to maybe talk about some of the games that we'll probably see? Halo Infinite, for example. Is there any others that are kind of guaranteed or anything like that?
As you know, Ubisoft are doing their own thing shortly, I want to say, for Valhalla. I think on the 12th, maybe. I actually haven't looked it up, but
yeah, I think you're right.
We're talking about that in a little while anyway. So
yes,
I haven't really looked too much into what Xbox. I'm sort of wanted to be a bit more of a surprise, unless they bring out an article next week saying what's coming up, and then I'll probably read that, and then it'll be whatever. But yeah, I'm excited more just to be whatever's going to be there. Honestly,
what are your thoughts, Jay? Give me some.
About there being a showcase? I'm really excited. Yeah. It's like bloody PlayStation again. I mean, I'm hoping this might sound a bit odd. I'm hoping because you said that before about this Xbox obviously being named Series X, aka Lockhart.
No, Lockhart is the rumored Xbox One S comparison of the Series X. So it's essentially the Series S. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, Lockhart is the rumored lower spec, cheaper model from what I can tell.
So it won't be Series X, it'll be Series S, but it'll still be the same thing, just slightly lesser.
Correct. It could be an all digital version, but we're not sure. All that's been is rumors. We have never seen it. So
yeah, it says in the article here that that's more rumored to be spoken about in August. There's going to be an August reveal apparently. So
that's
yeah,
so
just have to
late
wait.
before the
Just have to
console
wait.
comes out.
It
Yeah.
is. It's extremely late. Yeah.
My thoughts, Jay, on this:
Yeah.
Xbox have to pretty much smash this out the park.
Oh, massively. Yeah, they have to absolutely kill it. They have to
They
absolutely
really do.
murder with this.
This could be the show we've been waiting for about 5 years, or it could be drips and drabs, which it has been. But I'm hoping. Here's the thing, Jay. If they're gonna show Fable 4, Halo Infinite,
Yeah.
Initiatives game, you do it all in one. Because if you don't, you never get that impact ever
What you
again.
mean? It's going to be bam, 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 one after the other. It's not
It
going to
should
be start with something big, lots of rubbish in the middle, end with something
drabs.
big.
I think if that second option happens, that is a failure for Xbox. Because the E3s, some of the greatest E3s of all time,
Yeah,
were
been one bang
PlayStation.
after the other, isn't it?
Bam,
Yeah.
PlayStation's E3 2015, 2016. Bam, 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 bam,
Yeah.
bam, and I sound like that cartoon character. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
just
bam, bam.
bam, bam. It just they need to knock out the park, mate.
Okay. Okay.
And I
Well,
really
yeah.
hope they do because
Wait and
we
see
could
on
do
that
some
one.
Xbox games. Good
Yeah,
grief, could we
hopefully
do
some
some
more news
Xbox
about that
games?
next week. Hopefully we'll see a list of rumored games like we did with the PlayStation. I'm pretty sure there was a list as well. Do we want to move on to the next one?
Yes, this comes from Matt T.M. Kim at IGN.
Okay, so Xbox reportedly interested in acquiring WB Interactive.
Holy shit!
Because as we know, WB are up for sale right now. AT&T are, I guess, in quotes, fed up with the gaming side of their company.
Sure.
And they're in a lot of debt, so they just want to get rid of them as soon as they can. Which basically means that Batman is probably going to be developed by WB even, but slash Microsoft. It's probably going to, it might potentially be Xbox exclusive in the future.
Right.
I doubt it, but
they could do with that.
it's looking
That would
like
be
it
a
could.
console seller,
That
I
would be a
reckon.
massive. Oh yeah, it'd be massive.
Like Spider-Man.
But we
Actually,
probably
I
won't see
actually,
that for a little while though.
you're right. I think actually that may be just as impactful as, well, maybe not just as, but it's near impactful as Spider-Man on PS4.
Because WB games make a lot. They make a lot of games.
Jay,
Like
do you want to take us through some of the games they make, or some of the things they work on?
yeah. So they're sort of got an umbrella, I guess, of like a lot of other developers underneath.
Yeah,
One of them being NetherRealm Studios, which are the guys who make the Mortal Kombat games.
and
Uh,
Injustice.
Injustice, yeah. And then we've got the Lego people, I guess. They're part of it too. Hitman. I mean, they've got so many things under the umbrella.
They've got Rocksteady, who do the Batman games. So
Middle Earth, Shadow Mordor, they did that
which
as
is
well.
the biggest thing that I'm concerned about with this rumor, is that let's keep that studio going, because it's one of those games are really special, and we need to keep that studio going strong and making better games.
We spoke about the Harry Potter game coming out next year. I don't know if that's being done by WB. I imagine it partly is because the films are done by WB. But I guess this also means some level of movement in that area. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I
Maybe
think
not.
they own the licenses, Jay. So they're effectively going to studios and going, right, you develop this game for us, we'll publish it for you, and you can use the Batman license, kind of thing.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's kind.
There you
So
go.
I think WB own like the Lord of the Rings license,
Yeah, that's sort
Harry
of the
Potter, that
umbrella.
kind of thing. I think.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I mean this could be
yeah.
really really good news. Honestly, Microsoft. I mean, it could be awful news as well because Microsoft have a bit of reputation for either making an amazing game or a terrible game, right?
Mm. Interesting that they're still looking at acquiring when they haven't actually seen the benefits of acquiring these studios yet, in terms of the studios haven't turned out smash hit games that have sold loads. So it is
I mean,
interesting they're still on this
I think
acquisition.
it's more about the branding and the names of things like Batman, Mortal Kombat, Lego, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter. I mean, those alone have made
Huge.
billions, probably like close to $1 trillion combined over its many years of being, just the names of those things, So if I think money comes a lot of the time from the name of something rather than the actual content, right? So I think that alone is like the selling point.
And when they both align, you get one of the best selling PS4 games ever, like Spider-Man, right? Where you have the name and the quality. And
well done. Yes, well said. That is a perfect example, exactly. And I think that's what a lot of gaming. I think Spider-Man might have been one of the best things to happen for the gaming industry in the last decade. Honestly, it's just like that's what I think. That game is what developers strive for. That perfect collaboration between having this household name and the actual quality to go along with it. It's just like this perfect harmony.
Well said, Jay.
It's what we all strive for. It's what we all want.
Well said.
It's very difficult to actually get there.
It's really great that you like the game. I like the game a lot, but you like it. You love it, and it's so nice to see a game announce, get hyped for it, expectations set, and then you play it, and it's just everything you ever dreamed of. I mean, that rarely happens.
Yeah, just as a quick side, the PlayStation 5 cover for the new Spider-Man game got released about an hour ago.
Hold on a minute, as in the
just
physical cover for the new...
Just cover art, yeah.
The official one.
It's pretty basic, but yeah, it just shows off the new PS5 logo.
Breaking news. We have breaking news.
White background where the PS5 thingy logo is. Usually it's blue, like that sort of like, dark blue, and then
hold on a minute.
Thing, but it's more white.
Are we talking about the Miles Morales cover?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the Miles Morales is it just PS5?
I don't know.
We don't know, do we? No. Okay. The cover's out. The cover art's out. Okay. So this will be what the cases look like for the PS5 games.
I imagine it's still got the blue around it, but I think on this one specifically, it has the white of the PS5.
Wow.
I think they're really trying to push hard for that white PS5. They're really trying to push it.
Wow. That is interesting, Jay.
It looks like an awesome cover, honestly.
So
very basic, but it's good.
Yeah. I think the PS4 Spider-Man game's also got a basic cover, so that matches along with that.
Yeah, I think they're trying to mirror that, aren't they? Yeah.
And any news, Jay, on the size of the box?
The game?
Yeah.
You mean the actual physical box, or do you mean the actual game itself?
No, the box.
No, I don't know about the size of that. No,
I'd love to know the size of these, because I mean the Xbox One cases are like and the PS4 they're smaller, yeah. So I wonder if we're going to go back to almost a PSP
I kind of
size.
hope to see, like PSP size stuff eventually, but obviously the disc can't really fit into that. So
something smaller.
Yeah. Like trying to go as minimal, like save as much plastic as you probably can.
Oh, 100%. That's another argument for digital.
Reusable. That really is. That's honestly probably another like very small but vital part of the reason why I tend not to buy physical stuff anymore. I really think that gaming companies should have done this years ago. They should have like collaborated with some sort of like ecological way. Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Like where they have a company who they buy recycled plastics off of.
Yeah.
And then they do that to make the game cases. Like recycle 100%. Everything. It just makes so much sense. And they should also have a system in place to where if you want to get rid of your game case, like if for some reason you want to like keep the disc but have it in a case, like send it back to them and they can then recycle it for it to be used again later on. Something like that. It would just be a good PR move for start.
100%. The PS5 White J is pretty shocking to me because, like you say, it really shows they're doubling down on that.
Yeah, it's grown on me a little bit, but I'm still a bit, I don't know.
Okay.
Right, so yeah, I guess we're finished with the WB stuff, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, we're happy to see that it could potentially be good. It's going somewhere where it could actually have a bit more of a grounded home rather than AT&T, which is a bit more of a rocky road. So.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Microsoft hopefully will be able to make some of the best games ever if they acquired those licenses.
It honestly could be a very big turning point for Microsoft, so I'm happy to potentially just see that potential of that happen. Okay. So next one you might have a bit more of an interest in because I have some things to say about it, or maybe nothing to say about it because I don't know if you want.
Joe Scrabbles from IGN.
Yep. Assassin's Creed Valhalla news. Actually, there's been two sets of news, but this is one part of it. There's been some gameplay.
Creed cast.
Leaked,
Creed cast. Go on,
essentially.
Sorry.
There's actually it says here 30 minutes of gameplay, but I think there's actually a bit more than that. I think there's like maybe closer to 40 because there's like a boss battle essentially.
Yeah, Jay. So sorry. I want to be dramatic about this. So a huge gameplay leak, essentially.
Oh yeah, massive. But I think this is basically what they were going to show at the
Ubisoft
show, which was in a couple of days anyway. So I think someone obviously over there has just been like, screw it, I might as well show you guys. I don't know how much you want me to not say because I've watched it.
All right. Well,
there's literally one bit of information that I don't think will affect. Well, probably I don't know. I don't know if I want to risk it, honestly.
I'm gonna watch the gameplay when it's shown at the show, so don't worry too much.
Yeah, I'll tell you this information. Well, we can talk about information once you know it. Let's go with that, shall we?
Is there? Can we talk about generic gameplay thing? Like, is there something in it that's quite
say about it that won't be bad? Is it's a geographical bit of information? Does that make sense?
Just break it to me. What is it? What's the problem?
It's not a problem. It's actually like a really massive. I had a prediction many weeks ago about where the geography of this game would take place, and I think Nick would probably be very happy about where this particular leak takes place.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, dead ass, as the kids say.
I'm about to cry. Are you?
I know. I honestly, they even say the word. They say the word many a time, and it creeped me out. I was like, oh my god, my dreams, my Assassin's Creed dreams are coming true.
So it's the word, because you did talk about a few locations.
I did.
Just tell me yes or no. I'm gonna guess about 3 words. Okay. Is the word East Anglia?
Yes.
Holy fucking shit.
Deep East Anglia too.
Oh my god.
Deep. Like basically where we live or have lived.
Oh my god.
They actually say the name of a town that's very close to where we're from, so it's creepy. It's creepy as hell, and I'm very excited about it. Let's just say that.
I won't speak for you, Jay. My favourite long-running franchise is just about to show a gameplay reveal set in our hometown.
I hope they show this footage. I really do. I hope they haven't changed it.
They might change it now. It's leaked.
I know. That's kind of the annoying part.
Oh,
I think it's weird. This brings up a lot of like a good conversation about like pride for where you live.
Yeah.
Right, because I don't know if I've ever felt this to this degree before. I don't think there's ever been a game that's been set per se, or like partially set from where we're from, right? To this extent, like to this big of an extent. I've never. I don't know. I can imagine that other people have probably had this similar feeling before about other games that have been set, whether it very close to their hometown. So I feel a sense of pride.
It's a very unique feeling because, like you say, when do we ever have games set where we have games set in England, but we hardly ever get games set, let alone a global franchise, and their gameplay reveal.
Because our history of where we're from ties in very, very closely to the Vikings. Like they very much so intertwine, on a big scale. So I think this is the only time that we're really going to get the spotlight in this, whatever this spotlight means to us, right? So I'm very happy about it. I mean, I've seen where we're from come up before in a larger scale, but not to this zoomed in of a scale. They've zoomed in.
Can't believe
they're not looking at the whole island of the UK. They're looking at the zoomed in East Anglia, and then even more zoomed in on the East Coast. It's great. It's great. We're finally getting our, our cake, and we're eating it.
Mate, I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless.
Yeah, it's amazing, honestly.
I can't. It's incredible.
I was looking for landmarks, but I didn't see any. But hopefully there are going to be some.
Oh man,
there is one landmark, but it might not be one that you're familiar with, so I won't mention it.
Okay, so Jay, let's stop crying, I guess, and tell me anything in particular, tell me some striking things that you saw, overall impressions, good vibes, bad vibes, worried vibes. Like, what's going on here? I haven't watched it, so what's going on here?
It's a good mixture of mixed and excited vibes. Like if you had a
Okay.
scale, right? You have a scale of disappointed to absolutely in love. I'm sort of in between mixed and absolutely in love.
Okay.
There's things that I've seen that I'm hoping could be slightly different when the actual thing comes out, because it's definitely still in development, right? There's definitely a lot that's needed. I think they've definitely got most of it done, but there's a lot of what I saw that I was like, oh. I watched it in very bad quality. There wasn't a very good quality. There's no like 720, 1080.
Oh,
So
because it's a leak. Okay.
it's like mixed. It's like five something. Like it's bad. It's like a bad quality. So I'm blaming it on the bad quality. It's very dark. What I saw, like it wasn't in the daytime. It was in the nighttime. It looked really, just not what I imagined. But there's definitely parts of it where I was like, yes, that's exactly, ding, nail on the head. So I think honestly, if I had to give my opinion on how this game is going to be, I think it's going to be Odyssey level stuff.
Okay,
Like, honestly,
so
I don't want to get too hyped up, but it's I don't want to say it's like it's not a copy of Odyssey. It's just it's taking a lot from the previous game and then obviously putting its own twist on it. So
okay, so let's just break this down a bit then,
being
Jay.
as vague as I can.
First of all, oh no, it's okay. Don't worry. You don't have to be if you don't want to. But
Looks good.
first of all, nighttime, not a good idea. Could hardly see anything in the trailer. Okay, so
Yeah.
But maybe they're trying to show off HDR. I don't know.
It was one very specific moment, so the rest of it was mainly daylight.
Oh, okay, got him. Okay,
it was almost like a setup thing. It was like it had to look moody and mysterious almost.
So general stuff, Jay. You know what? It might just be best to watch the trailer because I'm now going to ask you 1,000 questions. Like,
I mean, you can ask as much as you want to without me, without me spoiling anything.
No, I don't. I'm not too fussed about spoilers because was there anything in there that you think would you'd be like, actually, I didn't want to know that before I played the game?
No, if anything, it gave me information of stuff that I was like worried wasn't going to be there.
Okay, so
I wasn't sure if they were going to go completely different to Odyssey or go back from it. I didn't know if they were going to like stick with the RPG elements and the loot and everything. I didn't know how that was going to be different, but now I know what it's going to be like. So, and I'm
have
happy.
Have they got commentary on this gameplay trailer?
No.
Okay.
It's all dialogue, all basically, it's basically like a demo, like a 30-minute demo essentially. I imagine this is probably what they would have shown, or like parts of it they would have shown at this gameplay reveal or whatever. So,
okay, 5 things I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah, go.
Combat.
What do you want me to say about it? How in detail do you want me to go?
If it's like Odyssey, that's fine. What did it look?
It's very similar to Odyssey. There's parts of it where I was a bit questionable, but I wasn't sure if that was because I couldn't see it very well, or if because it was still in development, they might have to tweak some things.
Voice acting?
Yeah, seemed about the same as Odyssey. Definitely potential for improvement.
Okay. Map size? Did you get any indication of the map size?
No indication. They specifically didn't show that.
Okay. Graphics?
I'm mixed on. I think there's definitely aspects of it that are improved, but other bits that might be because it's being made by a different studio, so that it's questionable.
So it's not like, oh wow, this definitely looks like it's on PS5 type game.
Oh no, it's definitely on PS5 or like definitely on Xbox. Like it's definitely next gen looking. It's basically if you took Odyssey and put it into next gen, but with a lot different. With a lot of similarities, a lot different.
And
again, I couldn't see a very good quality, so it's all speculation to an extent.
And what was your favourite thing you saw in the trailer?
Just questions being answered, I guess.
Okay.
Of like, oh, is that a thing? Yep, it's still a thing. Cool. And I guess just the location.
Yeah.
Yeah, location and loot system. Essentially, that was my 2 things. I was like, where is it happening, and is there still going to be RPG elements?
Okay.
And it was like, yeah, cool, awesome.
Okay.
Again, I didn't see enough for me to like get 100% of an opinion on anything really. It's more of a like 70% opinion. There's still so much I don't know, I imagine. So
Well, we'll
I'm
find
not.
out when they.
This hasn't really like skewed my opinion on it. Really, it's just made me like hopeful. You know, but this is the first time I've actually looked at an Assassin's Creed game before it's come out. In like the last Assassin's Creed game I looked at before it came out was AC2,
Right.
maybe AC3, maybe. Like it's been so long, so it's weird me having to have like thoughts about, am I going to enjoy this game? Because previously I've never had to think that before. I've always been like, well, Assassin's Creed, of course I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
So
I kind of have to
you.
like retain that, opinion of myself of like, yes, of course you're going to enjoy it. Shut up.
Yeah, I think I'm the same, mate. Actually, and thinking back now, because I never wanted to look at them because I was always like, well, I'll play them eventually.
Never have done. Nah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but
always been I'm going to come to it because it's Assassin's Creed. I need to play it.
yeah,
There's no if or buts. It's I am playing it. There's no
yeah,
you know
yeah.
it's a must. It literally Assassin's Creed at this point has become so you know the name is so well known for the gaming part of me. It's like, well, I need to play it. There's not a question. There's no question. I have to play it. It's a necessity at this point. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm excited. It's good. I'm sure we'll see shortly. We'll get a lot more information. Do you want me to talk about the next one?
Yes,
Okay.
please. This
Final
comes
Fantasy.
from. Oh,
Yes. Go
sorry. This yeah, this comes from an interview with the Guardian.
on.
Yeah, so the co-director of Final Fantasy VII Remake got an interview, Naoki Hamaguchi, to the Guardian. He interviewed at the Guardian, and producer Yoshinori. Oh, now I'm butchering these names. Yoshinori Kitatsu.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, carry on,
Yeah.
Jay.
So Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Development has been affected by recent events, but shouldn't have big impact. So basically, the game's still being developed, but more at home rather than in the studio, as it were. It's like the overall arcing thing. It's there's been a little bit rather than being at 100%, they're sort of slightly lower. Basically, they'd rather be in the studio or around their desks, at max capacity 100% of the time. But because they're having to work from home, it's a little bit less, going on essentially, which I guess could slow things up a little bit. But I'm still, if anything, it sort of makes me just more hopeful that they're still thinking about it. It's still top priority for these people, which is what you want to hear. You want to hear people, passionate about these things. So I'm
Jay,
happy.
did they ever officially announce the part 2? Is it kind of just assumed from completing the first game?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think they announced it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And
I
oh no,
mean,
I'm missing
at the end of the game, this isn't spoilers, but at the end of the game, it literally says
part
Final
2.
Fantasy will return in the second. The journey continues is basically what it says. So
I thought I might say something like that.
yeah,
So what are your thoughts on this, Jay?
yeah, no, I'm happy. This is just like an update, I guess, like a general overall. We're still working on it. Don't worry. Just because all this stuff's going on in the world doesn't mean we're not, prioritizing this as well. So
And you're happy
I
they're
obviously
just
would rather. I'm
prioritizing it?
happy that. Yeah, I mean, I'd rather. I mean, not rather, but I'd expect them to obviously put themselves first,
Mm.
their health first. But I'm just happy that the world for them in this gaming world is still turning and is still at least being worked on. So happy about that because I want to play this game so bad. The first one, honestly, now that I've had the chance to reflect on the game, I think of it a lot better than I did when I first played it. Honestly, like I
Okay.
had all this like expectation for it, and I think I had to like basically like push all that down just to make sure I wasn't too crazy about it. But I've had the time to reflect and be like, yep, it was a good game, and I was happy that I got to experience it, and I can't wait for the next one. So
Good. I feel the same, Jay, about part 2, where it's a strange feeling
oh
for
yeah, I
me
imagine
where
it will
I
be
can
similar.
I can listen to a whole podcast which is saying things that I understand, but I just completely disagree with.
Yeah.
And it's the way I've been trying to think about it is it's just like rubbing sandpaper on a chalkboard. Like I understand it, I hear it, it just I just don't agree, right? Like certain facts about the game, like some people think the game's paced badly. I hear what you're saying. I just fundamentally don't agree with that statement or that
Yeah.
opinion. So it's difficult for me. I don't get angry about it. it's just kind of like well, I don't really want to hear it because I
It's
just
like a
disagree with
mixture of
it.
like disappointment and just like annoyance, right?
Yeah,
Like you just kind of
yeah,
you're almost in like disbelief that anyone would ever actually have this thought that is not what you're expecting. But I
pretty
guess that's
much.
the world we
Yeah,
live in. It annoys me to no end too. I get exactly the
yeah,
same thing, just with other things, I imagine.
yeah. It's so weird. So like, I just want everyone to just not calm down. I want it all to die down, and so
It
I can
definitely
just.
has died down, just not
It
as.
has.
It's just I don't think it'll ever go away. It'll still be that little thing at the back of a lot of people's minds. It'll just, if anything, anything like this will just sort of be put on the pile of other issues that people have had with other things.
For
Well, I mean,
sure. I just want it to die down so that I can just enjoy it and reflect on it
yeah,
without
it'll
all the
come.
noise. The
It'll
noise
come.
is just so loud. I just because like I played it in a vacuum. I know how I feel about it. And I just want the vacuum to exist in public space, if you know what I mean. I
Yeah,
just want it. Yeah, I think you know what I mean.
that's some interesting talk there. Honestly, you could
I
expand that idea and go a lot of ways with that.
What do you mean?
Like politically, I mean,
Oh yeah,
the
sure,
idea
sure,
of a
sure.
vacuum and having to expand that vacuum is seen very differently by different people.
It's
It's
true.
seen as a good thing and a bad thing. So
It's true. All right, Joe, I think this is the last one from you, isn't it?
yeah. So this is a mixture of, I guess, gaming and TV news. I
Yes,
don't know
this
if
is
you've heard about this.
from Amazon Studios Twitter account, I guess.
Yeah. Fallout is getting a TV series, and it's being done by the same people who did Westworld, and we know how good Westworld is. It's bloody brilliant. So I
War
imagine it'll
never
be
changes.
taken. Yeah, exactly. It's in good hands. That's all I can say, really. Hopefully it'll be cared for and looked after and respected. And I don't know where they're going to go with it story wise. Hopefully it's a completely new story. I'm hoping it's in the world of Fallout, like in the canon of the games. I'm just hoping it's maybe in a different city or something. Maybe even like it might even do like a prequel or something. I don't know. I'm sure they'll do a lot of flashbacks to before the war or before the nukes or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna like be going crazy about this because I don't want to have too many expectations. TV shows can be so 50-50 when it comes to stuff like this. Like
Mate,
Amazon have actually made some pretty good stuff. So I mean,
yeah, Amazon is solid. This came as a surprise to me, but
didn't to me. I was
I
expecting this massively.
I
There were
don't
some rumblings on it. Honestly, there were some rumblings.
fair. I don't being honest with you, Jay, I haven't watched Westworld. I've heard it's really good,
I've only watched
but
the first series. I need to watch the rest. The first one is like, I don't want to like say too much, but it's like god level TV. Honestly,
yeah, a lot of people really love the first series.
it's insane. I don't know about the second and third, but it's like god level stuff. It's amazing.
Well, I've just read that Jonathan Nolan's working on it, and if I'm correct, and that's who I think it is, Jonathan Nolan is Christopher Nolan's brother, and he is a legendary screenwriter.
Yeah, so
Has written
the people who did Westworld.
Interstellar.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
Interstellar, Westworld, stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even know he worked on Westworld. So
yeah.
that's surprising. But there's a small heart of me, Jay, which hopes that this fulfills that Witcher hole, which is that I'm not
Okay.
necessarily thinking this is good TV, but I love it. Does that make sense?
So were you disappointed with the Witcher series?
No, I loved it, but I acknowledge
Okay,
that
good. I like
if you're
it.
like a if you're someone who doesn't like the game or the books, I don't think you'll enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. So would you think they're going to go somewhere with it where it's going to be enjoyed by all audiences, not just a gaming one? I
Don't
have a
do
feeling they
that.
kind of have to, right? They kind
Don't
of
do
like have
that.
to.
Oh wait, what the Fallout?
Yeah, but
Sorry,
when it comes to this, I mean, the
You talking
moolah,
about
the dough,
Fallout?
yeah.
Moolah,
When it comes
Jay,
right,
Jay.
if we're talking about Hollywood here, right? The machine. When a game gets shoved with a machine, a lot of the times they tend to go with right. Gamers, we know gamers are going to love it regardless.
Yeah,
So how do we get the non-gamer audience? Oh, we change it enough so that people who aren't gamers are going to enjoy it, and that may or may not, affect the way that gamers enjoy it. I'm hoping that it doesn't, but it has a chance to. I'm hoping it won't, but I mean that could be for the benefit though, because a lot of times, um, Westworld to me almost felt like it was a game that was made into a TV series. Like it felt like it was like that. It came from that fantasy world, which I'm hoping they'll do with this. I think that the people who made Westworld are the perfect fit to make. I think if anyone else was chosen to make this TV show, it probably wouldn't have the chance to do as well. So I'm glad it's them.
True.
Very glad.
I think they could go that direction, or they could go in this is the gaming audience.
Yeah.
It's effing huge because it's over 100 million people. Let's just try and get 10% of that, keep them on, let them love it, let them enjoy it. That's all you need.
Looking at it, mate. I didn't think about that. That's a very good way of looking at it, honestly.
I get what you're saying, Jay, because like obviously the initial thought is, God knows how many people watch TV. Let's try and get a segment of that.
Not that many, honestly.
Fair.
Nowadays,
Netflix, etc. But
yeah, we're talking about streams. Yeah, big.
Yeah, but what The Witcher does so well, I think, is it goes, we're not trying to convince you if you don't like The Witcher. This is for people who love The Witcher, as far as I could tell.
No, they looked very closely at the source material.
They did.
I'm kind of, I guess we have to hope for that when it comes to the game stuff. But the source material is quite vague with Fallout. Like,
yes,
you could twist a lot of things if you wanted to. Like, they have no real reason to take something that already exists and twist it. But if they could take a vague thing that exists and just develop it, expand upon. There's no reason to change it, but just expand upon it. Take what's already there. Right, here you go, audience. Here's the rest of the story with this,
Yeah. I hope this TV show is really good.
Yeah. Nothing but, excitement, I guess. Hopefulness.
100%.
Right, do you want us to talk about your things?
All right, I shall. I've only got a couple, so don't worry, people. This one comes from IGN, Daniel Robson, Joe Screbbles, but it actually comes from IGN Japan. So Star Wars Squadrons, HUD customization and advanced mechanics are all optional. So
yeah, I heard a little bit about this actually.
Yeah, so basically they're just giving us a bit of insight into how customized you can get everything. So you can customize things in the cockpit, you can customize things on, stripes on your ship and stuff like that. And it'll be other on-screen elements as well. I just want to include it because I thought it sounds quite topical, this game. And again,
it's coming out a lot sooner than we think too.
Yeah.
October, man. Start of October. I'm honestly, I'm almost on. I'm like on the line of pre-ordering this thing. I'm like very close to pre-ordering it. I want to hear a little bit more about it.
They start talking about how you're going to have to measure your different systems in your ship, and I think we need a 6 to 12 minute gameplay trailer of this is how you play the game. I think that's what we need. Thoughts on this, Jay?
From past experience in similar games, in quotes similar, I can already kind of see how the meta of this game's already going to be.
Okay.
But I feel like people who aren't like me and who haven't had this kind of experience will probably want a bit more information. I'm excited about customization. I feel like, from what I've heard, there hasn't been that much said about exact. I mean, I watched a developer commentary on some gameplay, and they were saying about, you can customize your head and your body and your cockpit, and I was like, okay, what else? I kind of want a bit more RPG elements here, my guy. So I'm hoping there's going to be a little bit more than that. There is like almost like not necessarily there's like loadouts. I think that was probably the biggest thing I was more excited about, is like how diverse the loadouts are going to be. But yeah, this is cool. I mean, I'm hoping there isn't going to be like microtransactions for like a bobblehead that you put on your dashboard or whatever. But I don't really want that. I've already seen things like that, but I'm hoping that is like more of a in-game reward system rather than a buying system, which I think they've already spoken about partly. So yeah, no, I'm excited about customization. Customization is always cool. I love being able to tune things to how I want, my, I guess, personality to be perceived. And especially when it comes to Star Wars, like Star Wars to me, this might be when it comes to fantasy, I tend to like more of the villainous side of things. Like when it comes to Harry Potter, I'm all about Slytherin. I'm all about the Death Eaters. I love how they cool. I love the aesthetic. And when it comes to Star Wars, I love the Sith. I love the aesthetic. I love the lore and everything like that. So I think if I was going to play in this game, it would probably be more of a dark side thing. So I want to be able to tell people that. I want to be able to show people, look, I'm going to be evil. Come after me. I want a challenge kind of thing. So the more I hear about that, is I'm happier. So yeah. What about you, my friend?
Yeah, I want to see more of the game.
Yeah, just want to see more of it.
Yeah, I feel like you have more thoughts than me on it, so I don't want to elaborate for no reason. Empty space.
Sure.
I had a really good quote. I think it was on Odyssey. I think it was. It was something like. Silence is better than empty words.
Yeah, no, I've heard something similar to that.
Yeah, I like that.
There is like one. There's like a famous one that's like that, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, I know what you mean there.
Yeah. So last story from me, Jay. This comes from IGN, Jordan Olemon, but it was from a interview with Halo YouTuber Hidden Xperia and Marty O'Donnell, who, for those who don't know, wrote all the Halo soundtracks, worked for Bungie for many years, worked on the first Destiny game, and then seemingly out of nowhere got fired from the company back in 2014. Has been working on some interesting stuff since. This is basically about how he's talking about how the Bungie Activision deal was bad from the start. And
yeah, I kind of felt like that, honestly, when I heard about it. I was like, oh, this is odd. Why are they doing that?
100%. I think they wanted the Activision resources and money and experience.
Oh, 100%. It was all about that. It was 100% about that.
Yeah. And I'm paraphrasing, go read the article, I'm not quoting here, but he essentially said that they got some red flags from a few dodgy quotes from the Activision CFO at the beginning, and that, yeah, in hindsight, it was probably bad from the start. And there's even some rumours of it almost went back to Microsoft in terms of Microsoft had an exclusivity deal with them with Halo, and he mentions that it could have gone to Microsoft as well, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's nice to see Bungie still free from Activision. It's kind of the biggest takeaway I take from this, Jay. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like you can compare this almost to like a musical artist signing a record deal. Very similar comparison in the way that a lot of artists nowadays are tending to go on their own and make their own recording companies or whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people come across recording studios or labels that tend to screw them over a lot. And I feel like this is basically there's a bit of an upside to signing a record label, is that you get the resources. You're basically selling your soul to the devil, is what a lot of people called it, right? So you take the money, you improve what you already have because you have the resources, but then you end up actually being potentially worse off because you've now potentially got all these legal things to deal with, and also you've had your hand held during the whole thing, so you actually haven't learned anything, and you're basically back at square one. Whereas if you'd gone on your own, you probably would have learnt things the hard way, and it probably would have taken longer for you to get there. But at the end of it, you would have learned a skill to not, have to deal with these kind of people anymore. So it's kind of a bit of a double-edged sword, really. Like you either do it, and you come out potentially worse off, or potentially it's a gamble. It's a massive gamble, and I guess it paid off for them because they're still just as good. So I don't know. Yeah, it makes sense. This sort of felt inevitable that for someone to say this. I guess they were probably scared initially because they were probably under some sort of NDA at one point. Yeah. So yeah, the NDA is probably up at this point. If that's how they work.
Marty, it may have just not applied to Marty because he left the company.
Oh yeah, because he left, exactly. Yeah, the NDA probably is null and void at that point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. Makes sense. I think this is definitely a lesson for a lot of other developers to be like, yeah, probably not a good idea to do this. Good lesson.
Jay, it's time for the next movement, if you're ready.
Yeah, I have like a quick, I guess, fact, like an interesting tidbit when it comes to the gaming industry.
This is fun facts.
Yeah, just like a little bit of information that I thought was quite interesting. I don't know if you knew this. I don't know
I
how, like,
didn't. I read it and I found it very interesting. So, Jay, what is your fun fact for this week?
yeah, so it's literally just that there are 1.181019 or 1,181,019 existing video games as of the end of 2019.
So
And I
that's
didn't think
not.
it was that big. It's a lot
So
of
that.
games
So that's all the games in history up
that's
to
ever
2019.
existed. Yeah, in terms of like on a console of sorts or on a computer.
Is that iOS as well?
Probably. Yeah. Anything
Okay.
that runs on an OS.
I feel like iOS is probably half of that, if not more.
No, I mean probably a lot of it, but honestly, I didn't think the number was that high. If I had to guess, I probably would have said somewhere like maybe in the 300 to 500,000 range. So obviously, I'm like either completely clueless, or just my number range just is nowhere to be, nowhere to be seen. I have no idea. I imagine it's probably a lot more now, but yeah, that seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, that is
I
a
mean, there's
lot.
probably like a couple hundred games released every year, and I guess if you times that by, I mean, we'll say maybe 100 big games every year, right? Ones
Yeah,
that we actually know about, and then obviously there's probably thousands that we don't know about. So that's probably where this number's coming from, I imagine.
definitely.
I reckon probably
Definitely.
only about 300,000 of that is probably like well-known games that have actually done well. That's probably where my mind probably went. My mind probably went, oh, games that have done well, or have at least been spoken about in a higher regard compared to ones that probably have been completely missed. It
No
would be
worries.
good to know that actually. Yeah, that's definitely a big part of a lot of what I'm interested in the gaming community is like statistics of things, like
Yeah.
numbers, like the number game when it comes to things like that. 100%.
Number of streamers, number of hours watched on stream, that kind of thing. That's all
Yeah,
interesting.
that's some pretty interesting, vital information, honestly.
Well, I thank you for bringing this fact forward, Jay. The Jedi Council will take this into consideration moving forward.
Who knew? 1.1 million. Who knew?
That's a lot. That is a lot, mate. That's a lot of games. I mean, that's enough to last 100 lifetimes.
Yeah, bloody hell, it's insane.
It's nuts. Oh, that's making me feel a little bit daunted just looking at the number, actually.
Yeah, I guess you just have to make sure you don't play all of them. all of them.
It's true.
Close
It's
to
true.
impossible. Yeah.
Just play the Last of Us Part 2. All right, next movement, Jay. This is a slightly new movement. I've called it genre of games.
Okay.
These are all really basic names, which are exactly what they are. But Jay, this week I want to talk to you about driving games.
Yeah, it's actually weird that you bring this up. I've actually been thinking about it.
Is this another Incredibles moment?
Yeah, honestly, it is. Me and you are so succinct sometimes.
Oh god, it's freaky.
I'll sometimes get this, I guess, like in the mood for a driving game, like this hankering urge. Yeah, almost like you're sort of like get a hankering for chocolate, right? A similar sort of thing. I get it with like driving games, fighting games, shooter games. Different genres of games basically. And driving games.
She likes them driving games. She likes them shooting games.
For me, it's primarily like Forza Horizon and Need for Speed. Yeah. They're probably my two biggest ones, and I guess any Colin McRae type situation, right?
Yeah, Dirt 5.
Dirt 5. Whoop. Whoop. Yeah. So for me, the latest Need for Speed Heat that came out last year, I want to say September maybe last year.
Was it that recent?
November last year. It's very recent. It was actually probably one of the better Need for Speeds I've played, and I was very happy about that. But you want to talk about like what driving games overall, like what your experiences with them, or what the effect of the gaming community, or what?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about your history with them because you play them more than I do.
Oh, yeah,
I wanted
definitely.
to talk about my brief history with them and my recent history with them. And I want to talk about how they have a place in the games industry. And I like how that there is a place for them. There always will be a place. And they occupy that place. And it's not as flexible of a place as, say, single-player games or games like Fortnite, which seem to carve out their own spaces in terms of...
There was like a pie chart. Driving games is definitely a chunk, but it's definitely not as big of a chunk as maybe some of these shooters or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like FIFA where there is the chunk, there's the demand, it exists. And FIFA's huge, just hear me out. Yeah. But like... it exists, and it's almost like a reliable, safe section of the gaming industry which you can go to and go, here's some decent racing games, off you go. And they're always there every year, and they're constantly being churned out, and some of them are really good, and you'll always get them, and they're constantly advancing, and that's that kind of thing. Where single player games is much more like, some are first person, some are third person, some are linear, some are open world. Those racing games, yes, they can change with that aspect, but for the most part, they're a racing game.
I've just found some pretty good statistics on like a pie chart that I might actually bring up next week.
Okay.
Of like differences in how much driving games occupy that wheel versus age and gender too. So I'll bring that up next week. That's for next week.
Okay, I'll create the template now.
Yeah.
So
driving games.
Yeah, so driving games. So if it's okay, Joe, I just want to quickly talk about mine because mine's really short.
Go for it. Yeah.
My experience. So got into driving games, I want to say, when I saw you play Most Wanted. I think me and my brother heard of rumblings of Need for Speed Underground 2 and Need for Speed Underground on the PS2, but it was mainly watching you play Most Wanted. I thought, wow, I need to have this game. I got Most Wanted. I got halfway through it. I think I got bored, but I did love it. Saw my mate Louis play Need for Speed Carbon, and then I just kind of, nothing really grabbed my attention until I played PGR, Project Gotham Racing 3 and 4 on the original Xbox, I believe. Maybe Xbox 360 for PGR 4. And PGR, I don't know, I can't remember. PGR 4, definitely Xbox 360, but I don't know about PGR 3. No, I think it's PGR 2. I'm just losing the plot here, mate.
Wow, get it right.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think it was PGR 2, but
okay.
I adored those games, the PGR games. I don't know why, Jay. I just loved them.
I think you got my version of that, definitely.
Yeah, I think their currency was kudos, and I absolutely loved those games. I played it crazy. I actually
had that too on original Xbox. I played the first one.
Okay,
that was my one. My one was the first one on original Xbox, I want to say.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I could be mixing the game up, but there was like a very specific soundtrack to that game that's like stuck in my head forever. So good.
And there was a few funny driving games like Crazy Taxi and stuff that came about, but for the most part, it was that. And then I've basically been dormant since the PGR days. And then a few years ago, I thought, you know what, I really fancy getting into a racing game. So I did play that Forza Horizon 2 Fast and Furious add-on, but that was just kind of for achievements and it was fine. So I wanted to try out a really up-to-date recent car game and see if I can really get into it. Now, Forza Horizon 4 really appealed to me because it was set in Britain, and I was like, that sounds really cool and different.
Yeah, see that was a big thing. I was like, oh, UK, awesome.
Yeah. So what happened was, Jay, I had Game Pass. I believe Forza Horizon 4 just came out on it. Played the game, and after half an hour, I realised that actually I do not want to play a racing game.
Right, okay. Well, it's a good lesson, I guess.
Yeah, it was very strange. And then it was kind of like, I'm not really feeling racing games. So, that was that. So that's just my quick history of racing games, really. Do you want to...
I actually want to send you a link if you just want to check your Facebook really quick.
Is that Facebook Messenger?
Yeah. So this game has a very large place in my racing, my driving game library, history? I guess. Yeah, sure, history. Sure. I don't know why, but I played this game for I want to say 100+ hours. Don't know why, but I was fascinated by it. The graphics are terrible now. I don't know why, but I used to fall in love with it. It's a game called Ford Racing 2.
Okay.
Very specific. I don't know why. I just had it. It was around, so I played it a lot. So that's definitely a large part of it. The other, I'd say my earliest run-in with racing games was twofold. Colin McRae Rally, stroke WRC Rally, which is like the actual World Rallycross. That was Dad's influence. He was obsessed with it, so I played it all the time.
Sorry, Jay, quick one. Yeah, my dad also used to love Colin McRae on the PS1, and there was always that kind of element there. So yeah, no, I feel that. Sorry,
Colin
carry
McRae,
on.
anything Colin McRae, anything Rally, I was obsessed with. I think that's where my obsession with like drifting comes in. Like I loved the whole thing of like them going around corners and being they just look so cool to me, and that's like
Yeah,
one of my variables when it comes to, which is definitely part of the reason why I loved Heat so much, is because the actual driving mechanics included a level of drifting that almost made it feel like Tokyo Drift, like the film. So I was like, oh, this is even better. And so I guess the other half of it is Need for Speed. Need for Speed was definitely a massive um, early influence with like Need for Speed Underground was the first one I want to say, right? And then I guess that also the soundtrack played like a massive part of it too. Like all the sort of like my dad was really into like 80s hip hop, which I guess sort of transitions somewhat into 90s and 2000s hip hop, which is what a lot of the soundtrack for the Need for Speed games are and still are. So yeah, no, I'd say that they're probably two biggest ones. And then like you were saying with the PG something racing, I forgot what it's called now.
Project Gotham Racing.
Yeah, Project Gotham. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if I spell project.
Project.
Yeah, I'm look at the actual series. I'm trying to remember exactly which one. Oh my god, it was the first one. Oh my god.
I might do the same actually.
That's some good memories right there, my guy.
Looking at the cover.
Oh, that cover is so like ingrained. Yeah, I'm gonna have to send you the picture. Wow, yeah, that's definitely a large part of me liking racing games. Again, the graphics do not hold up. I mean, they kind of do.
Jay, what was the...
Not really, though.
You're interested in Ford Racing 2, Project Gotham Racing. What is it about racing game? I know I'm skipping ahead a bit here, but I'm just kind of going on the fly.
Yeah, no, this is, yeah.
What is it about racing games that... I mean, I remember when you used to play Midnight Club 3 or something on PS2 and you were crazy about
that. So, yeah, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Capital D, capital U, capital B, my friend. Okay? I had it on PlayStation and I had it on PSP. Or like PlayStation 2 on PSP. The PSP was I still have the PSP one. Okay. I must have completed the game like 3 or 4 times. It's just so good. Yeah. Racing games for me.
Mine was PGR2. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
And PGR4.
I think it was a mixture of competition, having the skill of knowing how to race properly was definitely a big one. Like there's definitely a skill involved. Like you can be you can be either be someone who's good at a racing game or someone who's bad. I feel like it's very difficult to be in the middle. It's a lot like Marmite, either you love it or you hate it. Which I feel like because you probably haven't played as much as me, or maybe your passion for it wasn't as big as what mine has been progressively over time. You might not. You feel maybe your confidence probably isn't there. I don't know. Like, what is it with you when it comes to your skill level of racing games? Would you say you're good at it, or you have no muscle memory when it comes to racing games?
I'm pretty poor. Yeah, I used to have an okay amount. When I really got to grips with the most wanted controls, I was pretty good. But I felt that I hit quite some big difficulty boundaries on PGR.
Some road bumps, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Some speed bumps, and I think it was just too much of a wall for me at the time where I lost interest.
So you hit a wall. Okay, that's good to know. That's really good to know. See, I like that information. That's good.
And I also think there was an aspect of repetition that I probably...
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I can totally understand that. That's definitely a big aspect of partly why I tend not to play them for too long. They tend to be probably a 2 to 3 week at the longest endeavor.
Yeah.
But maybe not a lot for each day. Like maybe like a 2 or 3 hour each day. So for like 2 or 3 weeks.
The competition aspect makes sense to me. With you. So the skill set thing is that you get to develop that skill so you become the best driver. Is that what's appealing to you from the game?
For me now, if you gave me a racing game, I could do very well at it. I'm confident in myself that I could jump into any racing game that isn't too close to being a 1-to-1 scale simulation. Like simulation games are a bit different. I could do very well, And I think previously I didn't really have the mindset of like, I really want to get good at this. It was more, I enjoy cars. I think when I was younger, I used to have, like many boys are, they're sort of obsessed with cars, right? And some men tend to love cars, some men tend to forget about it. But I sort of, it was very big for me when I was younger, and I sort of lost it a little bit, maybe in the later teens, and then it sort of regained it over maybe the last 5 or 6 years.
Okay. So you do have a general interest in cars, like the names of like
Yeah.
the cars in the game and stuff like
No,
that.
I mean, I've always loved Top Gear. Top Gear's always
Oh,
been a big
okay.
thing.
Yeah.
I used to buy bloody magazines for cars many, many years ago, and like
Okay.
look up parts for cars and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I definitely love that universe. It's just I don't like being in it. I like to observe it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so. The last thing I want to say about that is customization, right? That's where this whole love for cars kind of comes in, like knowing what you can change on a car to either improve performance or just to improve the way it looks, right? So I think that's probably, if there was three things, it would be, customization, skill level, and then what was the first thing I said? Can't remember what it was now. There was a third thing.
Competitiveness.
Yeah, the competitive aspect of it. Yeah, I want to win, right? As I say this, if I come second in a race, I'm restarting that race immediately.
Okay.
Or if I think I'm not gonna win, I'm restarting that race immediately.
Yeah.
If you're not first, you're a loser to me. And when it comes to racing, if you're not first, you're last. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like the competitiveness of it, and yeah, everything else basically.
On the Top Gear side, then, have
Yeah.
you watched the new Top Gear stuff
Yeah,
series?
so it's weird actually. I've just come back to it, like within the last week. That's partly what I've actually been doing. I have it saved on my bookmarks. I watched the first series of the Grand Tour, and then haven't watched set 2 and 3, and potentially 4. I think now.
Did you like the first
I'm coming back
series?
to it. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it a lot.
Oh, okay.
I like the layout. I like the how they've changed it, how it's different.
Yeah.
I prefer the old Top Gear, obviously. Like the way it was, many years ago, with them going to like Africa and driving across it or wherever. I mean, they still do that. They do that more often now in thingy. So it's it's good.
Okay. So going back to your history then, Jay. So we're kind of at PS2 kind of level. Did you get into Need for Speed Carbon and all that?
So if I might have to look up a list of actually all the Need for Speed games, because I sort of fell off a little bit. Carbon was definitely, I think, my last big hurrah for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was the one where I was like, this is like the pinnacle of bloody Need for Speed for me.
And did you ever jump into the Forza Motorsport side of things?
Yeah, I think I might have played Forza 3, but didn't like it because it had odd achievements.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I got stuck. I got an achievement that was like 3G, and I was like, oh my god, I'm
stuck. Have you still? Is that still put you on an odd?
No, I went back and played it more, and finally got to a good number. So
even, yeah, nice one.
Yeah, so Need for Speed Underground actually isn't the first Need for Speed game, but it's definitely the biggest one for me.
Oh yeah, I didn't think it was the first, but it's definitely kind of up there, isn't it?
Yeah, so the first one actually came out in '94.
Crikey!
And then Underground didn't come out till 2003, almost 10 years later. But that was probably the biggest one, the one that actually introduced it to the rest of the world properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first three games, Underground, Underground 2, and Most Wanted, were like a massive part of the history. Carbon was definitely amazing. Pro Street was sort of starting to veer off how I wanted it to be, so I sort of fell off then. And
yeah, wasn't that the one that got a lot of hate because you had to pay to fix the car?
Yeah,
because coming back to me now. Yeah.
So between Pro Street and the one I played after that, wasn't until now checking. My God, so many of them. It was actually the reboot of the series in 2015. So from 2007 to 2015, I didn't play a single Need for Speed.
Right.
Cut it out completely. I was like, nope, none of these games are any good.
Were you playing any other? Terrible. Were you playing any other racing games?
During that time, probably Dirt 2 was the biggest one.
Okay, yeah. So it kind of goes
just a dirt game.
Need for Speed. You got a couple of Midnight Clubs, that sort of thing.
So yeah, Rally, Midnight Club, Need for Speed,
yeah,
Dirt.
Yeah,
Forza.
and then
That's
Dirt's
probably
the
like
kind of like
progression.
Dirt fills that 360 gap of like Dirt 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing, and then when that ends, you've got the Forza Horizon games starting to come about, and a lot of people
And
say
then
that
Need for Speed comes back at the end of it with all the more recent stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and then you never dived into Gran Turismo, Project
Yeah, a
Cars,
little bit.
anything like that.
Dad had Gran Turismo on PS3 and yeah, just PS3 back in the day.
Okay,
So I dabbled. Nothing big though.
what about
Nothing too drastic.
Project Cars or anything like that? A bit of an off
No, I
spin.
didn't do that. I slightly dabbled in Formula One as well, but that's
Formula
very
One.
difficult. That's a lot. That's like where my wall tends to be a bit more. The actual
Mm,
skill level jumps up quite a bit there. So
yeah,
yeah, a
and
bit more
Jay,
casual for me.
a lot of people, from what I hear on the grapevine, say that Forza Horizon games are probably the best racing games that come out at the moment. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree?
I'd say from 3 onwards probably.
Okay, 3 and 4, yeah. What is your
Yeah,
favorite racing game?
of all time, Dirt
Yeah,
2.
Dirt 2.
If I had to pick one, probably either Dirt 2 or one of the Need for Speed Carbon, probably or Most Wanted. Like I think those three are probably my biggest three. That one tends to move around. All three of those tend to move around quite a bit. I do like the Forza Horizons, but for different reasons. I don't think they're the same game. Not really.
Mm, mm,
Need for
mm.
Speed and Dirt are very linear, whereas Forza tends to be a bit more of an open world adventure. So it's slightly different.
Yeah. Okay. What is it about Dirt 2 that hits the mark, Jay? Because I've heard really great things about Dirt 2.
The progression system, like you kind of have to start out with a bit of a terrible car and you work your way up, which is I guess most car games. But the way they went about it was quite nice. The soundtrack was definitely a massive part of it. The aesthetic and where it took place was sort of like Southern California, North Mexico, so that sort of helped. I think the aesthetic just in general, and then it being around like dirt racing, which is like I guess my my origins of why I loved racing because it was on dirt roads rather than gravel or concrete or whatever, right? Um, yeah, I think dirt racing just has like another level to it. There's a bit more of a skill barrier, a bit more of a competitive difference to it. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's really. I think the drift, like again, it comes back to the drifty parts of things. Like on dirt, you tend to like drift a bit more, which I just like.
Yeah.
I like the feeling of it. It's really weird to say, but when you're racing a game, you can feel the car even with a controller. Like
Yeah.
not if with a steering wheel, you obviously feel it more. But I tend to be able to feel everything. It's like almost like having an extra limb, kind of, when you're playing
Mm.
a. For me, anyway, it's almost like having like you actually. For me, I really get invested in the driving aspect of it. So.
I was just about to ask you on the drifting side of things, Jay. How do you? Obviously, it depends on the game, right? But is there a generic, the same way that X is the jump button? Is there a generic way to drift in a car game? Because I don't think I ever do. I think I either use the handbrake, or
Yeah.
I just brake, or I just spin around. That's kind.
Honestly, it depends on the game. Some games have systems in place that allow you to drift without spinning out easily. Other games have it where you have to tweak it yourself. And that's what I like a lot about the new latest Need for Speed Heat. The game, part of the marketing for the game is there's a built-in system that allows you to drift without actually, but the drifting is actually beneficial. So they've made it so you don't, it's almost impossible to spin out basically. There's almost like an ABS, like a system in place that allows you to not, you know, veer off. The back end won't ever kick out too much where you'll just go in a direction that you don't want to. It actually helps you. Like the way they've designed the game is it helps you go around corners slightly easier. So it's good. It's a good thing. But yeah, it is primarily the handbrake, I guess. Hit that e-brake, as they say. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It depends on the game. Depends on the game.
Yeah, do you know what was funny, Jay? When I was like looking at Tokyo Drift like 10 years later, I was like, all right, so I guess they pull the handbrake up to turn, because like you would never do that normally driving. Do you know what I mean? That's
I mean, if you ask my dad, he pulled that thing a lot.
Jesus.
He's gonna love that I said that. Jesus Christ.
uh,
Yeah, my
what?
dad was that kind of guy who would, go to drive around in his car all the time and just probably hit the e-brake a lot.
God, yeah.
I imagine.
last question then, Jay. Did you ever use a big old steering wheel setup for racing games?
It didn't really feel necessary to me. I didn't need to get that much into it. I don't think. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I think if anything, that actually makes it harder because there's a lot more things you can do on the thing. It's not as simple as holding down a trigger and doing this. You've actually got to put a bit more, dexterity into it. So there's a lot more to think about.
Yeah.
I think if you drove a car, it'd probably be quite nice because I don't drive. It's sort of, it's just, I don't know. Let's just say I prefer a controller than I do to a steering wheel or a mouse. So, yeah. If I could drive a car with a controller, I would.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that was me and the Goldilocks gamers' favorite driving games, driving memories.
History of, yeah. I guess that was almost like a history dip.
Almost, Jay. Almost, nearly. Not there yet. Not there yet. Jay, it's time for my favourite part of the show because I'm going to whoop your ass, boy.
I don't know, I'm kind of worried, actually.
Guess whose review?
Yeah, it's my turn.
It's almost like doing a Bane. Yes, brother.
Yeah.
How much longer does the program need? Whoa, Jay, I haven't done the lowdown yet. Oh,
all right, come on.
It's all right, I'm only joking. For those who have yet to give their blood to the cause, Guess Whose Review is a weekly game show, which me and Jay alternate being the main chooser of. Jay or me will pick a random game from a random media outlet, random review, random person, and using 3 quotes, one of us will have to guess the game. It is Jay's turn to pick the game. He has picked the game. He has picked the reviewer. He has picked the outlet thing.
Yeah.
How are we feeling, Jay? I'm feeling pretty nervous.
I'm honestly worried. I'm so worried about both of these. I'm always worried about these because I think, well, I don't want to make it seem like I'm giving you too easy or too hard of a thing. It's very difficult to get that medium. It's very difficult for me but I don't want it to seem like I'm obviously giving you a hard one or obviously giving you an easy one.
Well, mate, look. If it's too hard, I'll cry, and if it's too easy, I'll cry. So you got nothing to worry about. You're gonna. Only joking. Right, I'm scared of you, Jay. I'm scared of you. I am. Okay. All right. Flex the muscles, people. Get ready. Rocky 5. Here we go. Scores are, by the way. Are before we go in, just to let Jay know. Jay, do you know what the scores are? I'll tell you what the scores are. The scores are 4-4.
Okay. Make it comfy. Jesus.
Is that Captain America shout? I see. I feel like I'm getting energy right at the end of the show. Is it? Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. So number one. Right, here we go. Oh, okay. Aside from stunting your way around the island, that's all there is to do to keep you occupied once you're done with the story quests. Honestly, I'm worried that was too much. I'm already worried that was too much.
That is a great quote.
I'm worried that was too obvious. I'm worried. Why did I say that? It's too obvious.
Did you say stunting round the island?
Aside from stunting your way around the island, that's all there is to do to keep you occupied once you're done with the story quests. I actually kind of wanted to make this slightly harder. I think if I'd gone for a different version of this, you probably would have maybe had too easy of a thing.
So, open world game, story quests, but not much side activities, and it's set on an island. Now,
the island. You managed to, put that down into bullet points there quite well.
So the islands, the thing that is striking to me, Jay, is a game that I know had very little side missions.
Damn, please don't get it straight away.
And that game, from
Don't
what I can
get
remember,
Don't get it. You asked. Did I make it? Don't. Oh.
is Mafia 2.
Okay, that's your guess.
Oh, that's a no. I definitely didn't get it.
Wow,
Jesus.
that happened on an island. I mean, I guess
I was
Manhattan.
thinking of Manhattan Island, I guess. Like, it's not really an island,
I
but
was so worried you were going to say it then. Right, okay, so you can't get 3 points. You can only get 2 or 1 now. Here we go. Right, second quote.
Okay.
Oh, honestly, actually, I might have to change these around. Let's see. Okay, I'll do this one last. Okay.
Ah, good.
I don't know. Both of these gives it away. Damn, which one do I say first? Okay, I'll try this. Now, we're not sure exactly how long it takes to topple a dangerous government in real life.
Oh, yes! Yes! He's got it in the bag. Oh, he's got it in the bag, monsieur.
Did I say the wrong one?
Monsieur Diablo, where you going, when you gonna take down the government, You go South America? You go South America? You fight for a good cause, eh? Senor. Just cause! Yes!
2 points. Well done.
Come on.
Damn. I want to read the last one and see if you probably would have got it from this, okay?
Okay.
This might make it really obvious, I don't know. The grappling hook,
by the way.
Yeah, just cause.
Sorry.
The grappling hook's small shortcomings mentioned earlier are indicative of all the interactions with the environment. There's a lot to explore, but not enough mayhem to be caused.
Definitely help.
Given it? Would you have got it from that, do you reckon?
Oh, I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I was worried that both 2 and 3 you were going to get it, so I don't know.
I was probably going to say Just Cause 2 from the grappling hook, because the grappling hook in Just Cause 2 is bonkers, mate. Okay. If you activate it from the sky to the floor,
that's very true.
It just cancels out your health damage.
That's actually like part of the reason why Just Cause 2 was so fun. It's because of how ridiculous it was.
100%, mate.
I was, even if you had said Just Cause 2 or 3, I still would have given it to you.
Mate,
I feel like it counts.
Just Cause 2 was one of the funnest games I've ever played, and I can hardly remember playing it.
Speaking about it, I remember actually buying the guide. I still have the guidebook for the first game. I remember buying it day one.
Mate, yes, we were crazy about the first game. We were following it for like months, weren't we?
I'm not joking. I remember that day, the day I bought it. It's so at the front of my brain. It's so vivid. I remember exactly what happened that day. What I did when I woke up. What I did when I got into the city. What I did when I bought the game. What we did after I bought the game. How we went home. I remember the weather. What I ate. I remember everything. I don't know why. It's just very memorable.
Did we both go and buy it?
No, I went with Mother to go buy it.
Got you.
But yeah, I remember exactly what shops we went in afterwards. It was a very memorable day and a great game.
Great game. Great guess who's review, Jay. Who was that by? What outlet? What's the review? Who's the review by?
Probably GameSpot, I imagine. I think I checked it out. Okay. Yeah, that's GameSpot.
Who wrote it? Do you know? All right. Well, GameSpot reviewer. Go find out.
I already have not next week's, but the week's after's prepared. I do 2. I always do 2, just so I don't have to come and do it every time. Okay.
I think next week's I'm going to make just ever so slightly harder than last week's, and I think we've pretty much got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, yeah, so it's 6-4 now.
6-4. Thank you for reminding me, Jay. I'm going to update the old pie chart. Okay. All right. Next movement, Jay. We've got a nice little history dip for the people. We haven't done a history dip in quite a few weeks now, Jay. So I don't actually remember if we've discussed this game before, but I really just kind of wanted to.
Not to this degree, I imagine.
Yeah.
I feel like you definitely have a lot more history with this than I do.
Well, I was trying to think of a game that you had a lot of history with, but I actually got it wrong with Torchlight.
Yeah, I do have a lot of history with this, but I started playing this game because you started playing this game.
Okay.
And I think you had already finished the first game, by the time I'd had even thought about it. I think the first time I played it was round your house, and I was like, oh, I should probably get this too. and then Dad had already bought it, so I was like, oh, I'll go play with it.
Okay.
So I was a bit late to the game, I guess in quotes late, but not
Late to
really.
the game.
Late in my child brain. But yeah, no, I didn't really play the third one. I don't know if I even did. I might have touched the third one, but not like I didn't complete it.
Here's
Second one was my biggest one, definitely.
Here's the thing about the third one, mate. You can complete that game and not remember it, because I did.
Yeah, that's probably what I probably completed it and don't remember.
It's really quite worrying, actually. So the game for History Dip this week, guys, is Fable. One of my favourite games of all time.
We're going to be hearing potentially about 4 in the near future.
Yes, that's why I picked it, Jay. I'm just always thinking ahead.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, no. Fable, one of my favourite games of all time. Loads of stuff to talk about. Fable 2 we will keep because that deserves a whole other History Dip. And I think we both agree that Fable 2 is probably the best of the series.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't know if Jay remember this. I remember very, very vividly how excited I was for Fable 2 at school, especially. Oh my Christ. Anyway, Fable 1. So, Fable was a strange game for me because my mum was like, I've told you this story before, Jay. She like goes on the computer. She's like, well, what games do you want for your games box? And I'm like, oh, this Fable game looks interesting. And then there was Fable The Lost Chapters, right? And we look at that and we're like, is that a sequel? Well, I haven't played that other one, so let's just get the normal one. Little did I know that The Lost Chapters was basically just a definitive edition of Fable 1, so I missed out on that. But anyway, super cool cover. It had like the boy and this really weird orangey light with a reflection of like the evil him or whatever. And within hours, I fell in love with this game. The British humour was unlike anything you've ever seen. The art style was unique. The music was phenomenal. I still listen to the music. The combat was really solid, actually probably more solid than you remember. The story was fantasy, but it was really good. It was dark, way darker than you expected because it had the humour tones. There was RPG elements which were really welcome because it really helped you progress your hero. The quests were hilarious, and I just love this world.
Honestly, I think I can compare my love for Fable to my love for Crackdown. Because to me, Fable and Crackdown have a similar progression system. Like you kind of have to level up different, like I guess, like agility, strength, bombs, guns. Like a very similar type progression system.
Yeah, it was like in Crackdown. Good point, Jay. So like in Crackdown, the more you shoot, the more you level up your gun or your shooting skill, and then if the more you kill people with your melee weapons in Fable, the more you can upgrade your melee skill, kind of thing, or strength. Exactly. It was called. Yeah. Oh, Jay, the Crackdown progression system is so good, mate. We need to do Crackdown. Have we done Crackdown? We should do Crackdown if we haven't. History Dip.
Should do.
But yeah, man, Fable. I don't want to bore you, Jay, but like Fable 1 is just so special to me. The music brings back so many memories.
Honestly, if it wasn't for that front cover, I don't know if I would have loved it as much. The front cover really sold the game for me. Like I love how it looks. It perfectly encapsulates that game. It really does.
It really does.
I guess the other aspect of it was the karma system, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh, Jay, that's why you're co-host.
Which I guess actually makes sense more for me and you. So when you play a game, do you tend to go more the evil or the light side?
Light.
See, I always tend to go the evil side. I like being the bad boy in the game. In this instance.
I have done evil playthroughs. I think I just like to pretend to be good.
I know what you mean. What do you... Usually on my first playthrough, I tend to do the good.
Yeah.
And then if I want to have fun, I'll do the bad. Because usually the fun comes with a lot of consequences. Yeah. But they're usually quite fun and silly ones. Yeah. Whereas the normal one tends to come with a lot of upside that actually help you complete the game easier. So. Yeah,
exactly.
I usually equate playing a game on evil as almost like playing it on a harder difficulty. It tends to like make things worse for you in the end. Yeah,
like I'll kill this guy. Well, he would have helped you on this mission, type thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's no benefit to me killing him because other than just being evil, evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah, Jay, you've pretty much spotted the absolute biggest aspect of Fable, which is the karma system. So you have so many choices throughout the game, and what will happen is the more evil choices you make, the more evil you will look. You'll have horns coming out of you.
Yeah, that was the. Oh man, that was insane. So when you were
It's
good,
insane.
you started to get a halo, right?
Yeah, you get a halo.
Yeah, that was the thing. So it's halo if you were good, but horns if you were devilish.
Yeah, and it was like the manifestation of that. I don't think we'd ever really seen before in a game. And
I don't think
I
I've
know
seen it
it's
since.
yeah. And
I
do you know
guess
what's
other
funny?
than Infamous, but yeah.
Yeah, true. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is, Jay, I want to relate this to Skyrim for a second because
Please do.
every time
I
I
would
play.
wait for you to do that.
Okay, so Fallout 3 and 4 have, I think, I don't know if 4 does actually, but 3 had a karma
3
system.
definitely does, yeah.
And the thing was about Skyrim and Oblivion for me, I'm not so sure about Oblivion, but definitely Skyrim, where they would give you choices, but for me, there was no choice because it was always be a financial incentive. Which one of these choices is going to give my character more resources, right?
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because there's no karma system, so why would I choose anything else? I always thought that Skyrim deserved at least a minimal karma system. What do you think about that?
I mean, there is a karma system in that if you steal something, a town will come after you.
True.
So I think that's enough of an incentive. I mean, you get that in most RPGs nowadays. Anything that's close to Fallout or to Oblivion, you get that, really, don't you? So
yeah,
I'm hoping that they do that with the future Fable if they do have one. So
Jay, I can't talk about it too much because I'm going to lose my mind if we talk about Fable 4. Like I'm going to. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that'll probably be your next big thing, right? Other than Horizon.
Yeah, I think Fable 4 is a bigger deal for me than Horizon, truthfully.
Glad to hear it, honestly.
Yeah. It's kind of, I'm trying to pick the right level for it for you, Jay. Maybe it's the same level as Miles Morales for you, maybe kind of thing. I don't know, because I'm just saying because I know you love. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an old game that you would like the return of. What's an old game that you would really? Some old games. Well, Crackdown 3 before we knew it was bad, kind of thing, right? No.
See, I actually quite enjoyed Crackdown 3. It definitely wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
Definitely not. I think it definitely could have been different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would actually like a Crackdown 4. We'll go with that. I want them to do Crackdown 1.5 essentially.
Yeah.
Or like I want them to reboot it. Like it just to be called Crackdown.
I don't know how you mess up Crackdown, but I'm not a game developer. But lastly, on the Fable thing, Jay, I finally played the Lost Chapters version because I bought the Fable Anniversary.
Yeah, I did too, actually. I did that. I don't know when I did it, but I did it a while ago.
I got the Fable Anniversary, which is I think the 10th anniversary edition of the game, and it was remade or remastered, whatever. I think it was remade.
Yeah, 2014.
2014, yeah.
That's probably when I played it too, actually. Yeah.
And it still has a lot of glitches, actually, but really loved playing through that game more than I expected. I really loved playing through that game again, and I thought the Lost Chapters editions were really great as well, for what it's worth. Anything to add, Jay, on the... Oh, mate, sorry. What's that? The best character in Fable by a country effing mile is not Jack of the Blades, despite his mask, is... Oh, no. Oh, don't do this to me. I was going to say,
actually, Jack of the Blades is going to be for me.
Don't do this to me. What is her name? Teresa. She is the best. She's so mysterious and weird and Jay, so we just play through it now. Should we just play through it together? Should we just play through Fable? Okay. Yeah, sorry, mate. I was cut you off. Any other thoughts on Fable?
It's such a staple for us too. I feel like Fable is like one of those games where we can look back on and go, that is definitely quite a large name in the history of us, really. Fable definitely plays quite a large part. It definitely obviously went a bit downhill after 2.
Yeah.
But I think it can make a return and hopefully rekindle the spark that once was. To wait and
100%.
see. But yes, Fable is plays quite a nostalgic place in my mind, definitely.
And I hope that really we can possibly get the most polished Fable ever in this new one if they do it right.
Honestly, I don't want this to like sound too bad, I guess, but I'm not tired of like, and I am not tired of this like the fantasy looking game, like The Witcher, Fable sort of looking game. I'm hoping that there'll be a different enough for it to be exciting and new. I want something new, which is can be a lot to ask for sometimes when it comes to game developers, because they might want to be like, well, we'd rather have the younger audiences of the new generation who never actually played Fable or 2 or 3 to basically have the same thing just again. I don't want them to rehash it. I want them to do something different. So
Cyberpunk.
yeah, Cyberpunk Fable.
No, I just meant as in a Cyberpunk game on that scale we've never really got
Oh,
before,
okay.
so it's quite
you're
different.
right. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think it's fairly different.
It's definitely got its place in the history books. Definitely. I guess that's about much we can say.
You can write into the TGO show at contact@thegameopinion.co.uk. Pause it out if it's too fast for you. And Jay,
yes.
Fat boy on a diet, don't try it. What are you playing? What are you playing this week?
Okay, I guess a little bit of a fact. I know every lyric to that song.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing over the next week?
Mate, can I just quickly interrupt you quickly? Can I quickly interrupt you quickly? We watched Phantom Menace. I watched Phantom Menace with India. She watched the original three, with me a couple of weeks ago. What do you think she thought about the Phantom Menace off the bat? I know you don't really know her, but what do you think she thought about it?
That it probably didn't look like it was filmed in the 70s.
Yeah.
I don't know. That it's like CGI. Probably that she probably recognised actors a bit more.
It's true. She did. She recognised an awful lot, actually. She recognised Keira Knightley, who I still can't really see as Keira Knightley because of her makeup. She recognised Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor, Liam Neeson, and her overall reaction, Jay, was that generally she enjoyed it more than the originals.
Ooh, that's tough. That's tough.
Now, don't condemn her.
Do you know what? Okay, I can say this. I think episode 1 is my favourite of the prequels.
Interesting.
Because of the pod racing.
Oh, dude, the pod racing is unbelievably good.
The pod racing carries that whole film.
I agree with that.
And also the scene where they've got the underwater sea monster.
Interesting. Not the Duel of the Fates lightsaber battle.
Just because of obviously, but because of the ship, like the ship they were in with the weird spirally tails. I had that as a toy as a kid, and I really enjoyed
it. Nice, mate. Yeah. It was mainly because I think this is a further discussion, but it's mainly because the film doesn't look 100 years old, and despite 1999,
yeah, sure.
And despite what people think, Jay, those original Star Wars films are looking old, man. They are looking old.
It's what practical effects do. They tend to make things look older. Yeah, which isn't, I guess, not a bad thing. I mean, they do look old, but they're still classic enough for me to be like, brilliant films,
Yeah.
Is that the first time she ever saw the 4, 5, and 6? So she only ever watched them once all the way through?
Yep.
And the same with 1, 2, and 3, or just 1?
Just what she's never seen Phantom Menace before. Now.
Okay, so you've only just watched 1 together, but you haven't watched Clone or Revenge.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Jake, mate, one of the best things that's ever happened to me in our relationship. Like, we're watching the film, right? And he's like, I'm a person and my name is Anakin. And then she's like, that's Anakin? And I was like, I love my life.
The realization.
I was literally like, I've never experienced that. Because, like, we've always just kind of known. And then she's like, that's Anakin. Because, like, she was looking at Liam Neeson and she's like, he's Anakin, isn't he? And I was just like, but like...
So she still doesn't technically know then, right?
Know what?
Who Anakin becomes.
Yeah, because they say it in the original trilogy. So, like, she was like, oh, he's Anakin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That long.
Yeah, they say it in New Hope, Ben does.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and Yeah, so then about half an hour later, after the pod racing, right, which I think she enjoyed, she's like, "Oh wait, so he becomes Darth Vader?" I was like, "Oh my god, my life just got even better." Like,
it's a good moment.
When,
It's a good
mate,
moment.
oh, it was so cool. Oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. So I can't wait to see the reactions from the next two films. She's going to be like, "Wait, that looks like."
Is odd
Yeah.
thing to experience the first time round, I imagine.
Yeah.
Because isn't
Yeah.
the second one when Samuel L. Jackson comes into it, or is he in the first one?
No, he's in the first one, very minor role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is Dooku in the first one, or is he just in the second one?
Just second one.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, Dooku's probably one of my. Honestly, if I had to say one of my favorite characters in the whole entire Star Wars lore, Dooku.
Really?
Yep, his lightsaber is my favorite lightsaber.
How come?
With the curves, and he holds it like he's doing like a what do you call it? A riposte, rapier.
Fencing.
Yeah, he sort of almost does like a fencing thing with it. It's just chef's kiss.
Oh,
It's all very whippy and lovely, which is why I like playing him as in Battlefront.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Very fun, very fun. He's got some cool moves.
I won't detract any longer. I know you. Yeah. Fine. So, what are you going to be playing, Jay?
Star Wars any time of the day.
Anytime.
Literally anytime. What am I going to be doing? What am I going to be doing, Nick? You tell me, huh?
You're going to be doing whoever you want. No, you're going to be doing anime?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm all over the place. I don't know if I'm going to be gaming much, honestly. I haven't been on the PlayStation in like 2 days. I don't know. Although, actually, this is one thing I did do. I forgot to mention. I played 76 for about 10 minutes.
Oh, Jay, you broke. I thought we were going to play it together.
Well, no, I just wanted to see where I was. I couldn't remember exactly how far I got, and I got to level 11. That's where I got to. I probably put about 3 or 4 hours in. I don't know, maybe more than that.
Okay, so you played it for 10 minutes. So
I had to remind myself why I came off it, and instantly I was like, oh, yeah, that's why.
Really? What happened?
There's a... have you ever played Fallout New Vegas on survival mode?
Yeah.
A bit like that. So you have to replenish your thirst and hunger, and that annoys the hell out of me.
Okay.
It's quite easy to do, it's just very annoying.
Yeah, sure.
I guess it makes the survival aspect of it with like the camping and everything, but I don't know, it kind of turned me off a little bit. I was like, oh
no. Really?
Yeah, I didn't play it long enough to even like want to get back into it really, so I don't know. It's difficult. I'm tempted to download Division 2 again to like remind myself. I'm just worried though I'll play it and be like, oh, this is why I came off it. Okay.
Well, give it a go, Jay, and if you can find the reason, then that's fine. And if not, I would be interested in playing it with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to download Battlefront, honestly, and to a bit of a whiz on that.
I've got it downloaded.
Yeah, I'll probably do that. It's quite big. So.
Huge. Every game's like 100 gigs now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'll have to delete some stuff to get ready for Ghost, potentially. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, I almost played on Pokemon today. I was like seconds away from being like, you need to play that game right now.
Yeah.
Because you're in the mood for it. Why aren't you playing it? And I looked back at my screen and I was like, am I in the mood for it? Well, actually,
it sounds like you Gollum. It sounds like you Gollum. Like you look at the top screen of the DS and you're like, well, I'm in the mood for it. And then you look at the bottom screen like, yes.
I honestly feel like I'm going through that right now. This sort of like Gollum thing where I'm like
fighting your.
Like I've always got this like devil and angel on my shoulders type bloody movie moment going on right now. It's like, yes, you must play it. No, don't play it. It's okay.
Have you seen Emperor's New Groove?
One of my favourites.
Oh my god, Jay. Kronk is hilarious, right?
Well, I mean, he's become quite a large meme over the last couple of years.
Has he? Yes. I'm glad. And you've got the Kronk angel and devil is like,
that's okay, exactly.
She's going down.
This is what makes me laugh. When I imagine an angel and a devil on my shoulders, guess who I imagine?
Kronk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time. I like either that or Little Nicky. You seen Little Nicky?
No.
What are you doing? Do you like Adam Sandler?
No.
You're stressing me out, boy. What are you doing?
No, I don't.
Please tell me you're not serious. You've seen Click.
Okay. His two funniest films, Don't Mess with the Zohan and
Yes.
Click. That's it. That is it.
Oh,
That's
honestly, I'm a Sandler fanboy, my guy. The only film I haven't seen of his
Jay.
is Uncut Gems, just because I haven't got around to it yet.
Jay, his films aren't funny. I don't know what to tell you. Jay, seriously, his films are not funny.
So you haven't seen Waterboy,
No,
Wedding Singer,
no.
Happy Gilmore,
Watch first 10 minutes, turned off.
Billy Madison,
No,
Big Daddy.
no. You're just making names up now.
Oh, Mr. Deeds,
No.
Anger Management.
He's making up these names.
I'm not. This is all
Big Daddy, P. Diddy, Phil Lilly.
This is top of the dome right now. I'm such a fanboy. Come on.
Cheeky Dimwit. Okay, yeah,
Longest
okay,
Yard. Longest Yard?
Shut the fuck up. Oh my god.
I pronounce you Chuck and Larry. Funny People. Grown Ups. Jack and Jill. Grown Ups 2.
No.
Murder Mystery.
No. That's called Cluedo.
You're missing out. You're missing out on some absolute classics.
Am I?
They're so quotable. Can I just say, they're as quotable, if not more quotable, than Hot Fuzz.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say Austin Powers, and Hot Fuzz is even higher on the list, so that's worrying.
Exactly.
That is.
That's the exact. Can I just say, I have a friend, someone you may or may not know. I'm not going to mention them because they might not want their name out there. But we quote Adam Sandler movies all the time.
Okay.
Right. So I reckon if me, you, and Will had watched these films during high school, you would have been quoting them just as much as Hot Fuzz, if not more.
Okay.
So quotable.
Do you know my problem, Jay, with quotable films? Every time I watch them with someone, they're reciting the films and let me watching it.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
I try to watch.
I recommend watching them on your own first.
Try to watch Zoolander with anyone nearby. I can't do it because they're just saying the whole. They're just saying the whole film in front of me. I'm like, I can do this for Shrek and Shrek 2 if you want me to, but I will. Not, I choose not to.
I'm so surprised you haven't seen Adam Sandler movies. They're just the best.
I don't even find Zoolander that funny.
Yeah, Zoolander's a bit up there.
I'll tell you what is funny, mate. I'll tell you what's real funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is a shout out because I heard it on a podcast today. Shanghai Noon.
Yes, watched those as a kid.
Oh,
you can thank my dad for that. I watched that film 100 times.
I can't believe you watched it. Unbelievable. Number 2, mate. Number 2, Wedding Crashes. Wedding Crashes.
Yes.
Hilarious.
Yes, I probably talked to you off the podcast about that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be playing the same. I'm around.
So yeah, back to Odyssey. Back to Last of Us 2, I imagine, at some point.
Odyssey, Last of Us 2 Platinum playthrough. Yeah. Same old.
So what's like the next big game you're looking forward to right now?
Great question, Jay. I appreciate the question.
Because mine is obviously Ghost.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's probably Squadrons.
Okay, so let me give you my vision, as the robot says, right?
Please do.
Vision. Okay, so here's my thinking, Jay. I've actually got about 5 games that I'm really quite pumped for, and I'm happy to play. However, all of them could be bad. So the next really big game, truthfully, is probably Cyberpunk. So I'm looking at Destroy Humans remake, end of this month. Could be great. Really down for playing that if it's good. I've got Crash 4 coming out. I've got Star Wars Squadrons coming out. When I say I've got, I mean we all have got because it comes out publicly. Star Wars Squadrons could be good. We're now looking at a possible... I mean, if Fable 4 is announced with a release date this year, I'm gonna lose my shit. And I've forgotten every other game that I was excited for, to be honest with you. What other games have there been this year? Next big ones. I mean, this is really next-gen stuff here. I mean, Ratchet & Clank. Spider-Man Miles Morales. These are all huge deals. Huge deals. But Cyberpunk, I think, mate, for me, is the next truly big. One? Yeah.
Okay. If we want to go on like that scale, I guess then yeah, Cyberpunk. If you had to go like one below that scale, for me, I guess it's Ghost and Miles Morales. I guess.
Yeah.
I really want to enjoy Marvel Avengers, but I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. There's just like I don't know. I have to at one point have to accept the fact that the next phase of Marvel films includes Captain Marvel. She's been signed on for the next 7 bloody movies.
So here's what I would advise for you, Jay, for the Avengers game. The trouble is that you want to see what the game's like from other people's point of view, but I think you could really do with not forming your opinion from other opinions for that game.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
So it's
I
difficult.
think I would enjoy it if I played it, but I'd have to try and avoid aspects of it for me to enjoy it properly.
I think if you played it in a vacuum, you would probably enjoy it more than you expected, perhaps.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to play. Fuck off. It's very difficult for me to play games in a vacuum nowadays. I just can't. I can't bring myself to do it as much.
Yeah, sure.
Like I see so much news and images of games. I feel like, well, I've seen that already, so I'm not in the vacuum anymore. I'm no longer in the vacuum.
Yeah, yeah. I see a lot of images of Dead or Alive 6.
Yeah, sure.
It's the naked lady one.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, okay.
That's one of my games I used to play back in the day.
Fair.
Love it, Dead or Alive.
Who doesn't?
It's great.
Feminist.
Great. Sure.
All right. Are we okay? Am I okay to cut, Jay? Am I okay
yes,
to?
Totally. Okay. We're good.
Cool. Thanks everyone for listening. Goldilocks, have you got anything to say?
Looking forward to a lot of news. There's still a lot more to come. We're only just scratched the surface. Still a lot more to come.
We are. Just have the right size bowl of porridge.
Like at the start of something quite big, I imagine. So, yes.
The hype continues.